Oh, there we go. Okay. Ooh, looks like we're live. Alright, very nice. Alright, let's play around with some settings here. Mess with the chat. Can mess with the... Can I mess with the game? Is it delayed properly? It is delayed properly. That's really nice. Okay. Taking a look at a Naval game here. I don't know. Hold on, I gotta figure out a better way to do this. I wonder if... Well, that's looking solid. There's a way to pop out the chat. Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy. Good to know. Hello there. Engage with your audience, add emotes, capture moments as they happen, stream markers, okay. What is this? Highlights, shares? Interesting, okay. Is there any way to see if there's actually anybody in here? Chat rate of 1. Well, we'll just keep this going and we'll see if anybody shows up here. We need to figure out a way to actually... Yeah, to actually show the... Oh, I wonder if I could do it through the YouTube studio. Can I do like... Comments, maybe? Yeah. Dashboard. Live. No live content. What if I just go on the YouTube app? Oops. This is quite interesting. Quite interesting. Ah, hello there, Jas. Congratulations. Thank you, mate. Yeah, I was just wondering if anybody is actually here. I'm trying to figure out all this interesting stream stuff. Very, very, very lovely stuff. Sorry, this probably isn't very interesting to look at. Let me get that out of the way. Yeah, starting up a configuration stream here to try and figure out what I can do, what exactly is possible here. Good to hear from you. Trying to get it all set up. I'm trying to see if there's a way that I can participate with the chat while also having the game up and around. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to figure this out here. I wonder if I can find my own live stream. What happens if I look up myself on YouTube? Ah, okay. You can now pin a message to the top of your live chat for viewers to read. Oh, got it. Ah, okay, so I can reply on here. Hello, Jess. Welcome to the test stream. And hello, anybody else that might be out there. I think easiest way is to use another monitor, but I've seen it as an overlay. Yeah, I think that's probably the best idea too. I'll have to invest in a new monitor and maybe a better stand. I want to get one of those arms, you know, the big arms that anchor to the floor and they hold your monitor up over your desk. I think that would be the ultimate solution, but in the meantime, yeah, I think I'm going to resort to something like having it on my phone. Use my phone like a third monitor, or a second monitor rather. Believe it or not, this whole operation runs on one monitor. I've got a beast of a computer, but she's only got one head. Well, Jess, I guess since it's just me and you, I'll just ask, what does the audio sound like? How's the balancing on that? It should all be running through OBS, the same as my other recordings, so I think audio should sound the same, but I'd love to hear from you. Hello there, Dino. I just saw you as well. Bit of a delay. Better FPS, really? Interesting. That's probably just to do with the Navy map being a little bit less unit intensive here. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad it's sounding all right. Yeah, there's going to be a little bit to figure out to this. I'm excited though. I think it'll be a whole lot of fun getting to look at some of these games and doing it live with everybody. Can hear you over game sounds, but not drowned out by it. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I can always tweak these in game. Man, it is so convenient to have these sliders here, by the way, just to adjust the sounds and everything in game. That's like, that's such a quality of life. It's such a quality of life thing to be able to adjust all the sounds dynamically when I'm actually watching the game and things are happening, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I want to talk now. I can change the volume a little bit. Get up close and personal. Make sure that all the explosions sound good. I really don't want to turn the volume down. Never seen the naval maps? There's a few of them. They're not very popular though. I would say I mean, personally, I love Navy, so I think it's pretty fun. I think a lot of the naval maps are really, really cool, and there's definitely some really interesting stuff that comes out here. Forward T2 naval facilities, for instances. Navy is hard, man. Navy is so hard. It's so like you take one bad engagement and suddenly your entire naval fleet is just in ruin. It can get really, really tough. It's also a whole new world of different strategies for what you can do in the Navy, how you can actually like do things. I just love to see what people can come up with. Yeah, you should start some more naval lobbies. I agree with you. I'd probably hop into those. I hardly ever get to play Navy. Well, for the longest time, the only Navy map that I ever knew about was Shore to Shore, and like that map is all that glitters of Navy, if you know what I mean by that. It's very like, you know, just here and there. Hey there, Teed Zellner. Good to see ya. Love the cast. Been a FAF player for years and basically switched after finding your channel. Oh, well, that's good. Glad I was able to convert you. Yeah, I don't blame you. I think Bar has a lot to offer. I think it's going in the right direction, and I'm super stoked to see whatever they can come up with. See you later, Jess. Thanks for tuning in to the test stream, as it were. Yeah, I'm really excited. This is working out great already. A little bit finicky there. I had to jump through some hoops to try and convince YouTube that it should let me stream right away. Apparently, there's a limit on the exact, like when you want to link your account. In other words, you have to like wait a certain amount of time. So hopefully, if I do a test stream here or there, it'll like quote unquote verify the account so that I can actually do these live and I can connect the streaming software properly, because right now it's kind of janky. I'm just literally sending the packets to the YouTube server and it's just like, okay, well, no authentication or anything, but you know, it's got the proper stream key, so I guess it's working properly. But anyways, I gotta test out some of these other things. So how does toggle moderation activity, pop out chat? Ooh, so can I make this like its own? Oh no, but it'll still. Okay, that didn't do what I was hoping it would do. Restore chat. Yeah, there we go. I was hoping that would like make it its own thing that could overlay on top of the game here. Very, very interesting. So what are some of the fun features that we can do? What does top chat mean? I don't know what I just did. I just flipped a switch and now I can't untoggle it. Some messages, such as potential spam, may not be visible. Oh, okay. Well, we don't have to worry about that. All 7 concurrent viewers don't have to worry about that. Oh, okay. So the analytics chart started working. That's good. I don't know about you guys. I'm not sure how familiar everyone was. I had no concept of what the actual data was that like you know, YouTubers, content creators, anybody gets when they actually look at this stuff, because you know, it's just a world that you don't really care about, or at least I didn't care about until I actually started doing it. But there is so much data, and my like optimization brain kicks into absolute high gear whenever I get a chance to look at the numbers and just like start you know, start looking at things, and it's like, oh, this is interesting. This is a lot of numbers that I can get behind. I also learned today that you can select groupings of units like this and then hit the unit tracking command. So I can hit the oh, whoops, just close the stream thing. Anyway, you can hit this grouping command, and then you can hit, for me it's Y, but I reconfigured it from the T button to basically track these units whenever I want. Oh, can you guys see the stream? Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. Live chat. Hello there, Site Alberta. Welcome to the test stream, the official, technically the second ever the second ever first ever Brightworks test stream. The first one ended prematurely because YouTube didn't like the way that I was connecting my my streaming software, my OBS kernel. But we're taking a look at a naval map right now. We're in a fun little lobby called 8v8 All Welcome Return of Map Tour, in case you want to do hopping in game, any of you lovely folk. But I'm just taking a look at some of these maps. I'll probably play a game or two here and there, just until we get the scene, or get the scene figured out, get the stream up and running, and make sure that all the audio and everything sounds great. Give me some feedback in chat how the audio sounds, everybody, and I'd love to get this tuned really highly before we do an official event. I'm thinking. There was a video that came out recently, the content creator tournament, the content creator clash. That's what I called it. that was a super fun event. It was a series of 1v1 tournaments, and I casted the semifinals and the finals for that tournament, and it was super fun. Really fun to meet all those pros. Got to talk to Dolphy for a little while, who's like my hero. You know, that's like, that guy's been playing like Balanced Annihilation, Total Annihilation, all those types of games for forever and ever. So just all that good stuff. Tons of like, just a wealth of knowledge. You know what I mean? So that was super fun, and I'd love to do that again. I know a lot of those guys are really cool people, and I'm sure they're eager to get down and play again because it was so much fun. Let me read the chat here. I'm so awful about reading and talking at the same time, so I know this is going to be a struggle to learn how to do. Just like glancing at the chat here and there. Nice to see you, Celestial Corsair. Welcome to the test stream. Welcome as well, Boss Keith. I see you in there. Just started watching you a couple of weeks ago. Well, welcome. Welcome to the Brightworks. If you just started a couple weeks ago, you've got quite a lot of content to get through. You know, I wouldn't blame you for not going all the way back to the early videos, though. Some of those are pretty choicey. I'm actually in a weird pickle where I'm like, I kind of want to take those down because I really don't feel like they represent the quality of video that I produce now. But it's also weird because there's still people that watch them, like a tremendous amount of people that watch them. I still get like 100 views a day on some of those videos, which is really crazy. Dolphy's Commando video was absolutely epic. Oh, Dolphy's Commando video. Let me tell you what, Dolphy reached out to me with that, and he gave me a lot of hype on that one, but he did not undersell it. That was amazing to watch. I am not going to be surprised if I start to see some replays here and there featuring some really amazing commando play. I always had the suspicion that those commandos were super powerful, but you know, you put them in a noob's hands like mine, and it's like, it's, you know, it is what it is. But you put them in a true pro's hand like Dolphy's, and you are going to be in a world of hurt. Man, these naval maps, they get dirty so quickly. Look at how much metal is lying around everywhere. 12,000 over there, 2,500 up there. So much metal just in, like, literally everywhere. 15,000 metal in this big wreckage field. Yeah, this gets heated quick. For anybody who doesn't know, I love Navy. That's like my bread and butter. That's It was like it started on Supreme Straits, right? Because nobody wanted to play the naval lanes, so I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll give it a try. Started playing the naval lanes and realized, like, oh, you can just win if you play this lane well. So from then on, I was just like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's what I'll do then. Really great seeing some of the things you've covered slow up in other matches. Like Fiddle Baguette Supreme Straits corner cheese. Ah, yes. Yeah, that was hilarious. I made that first video about that cheese, and it was, I mean, it was literally like the next game on Supreme Straits that I played, my team got cheesed by it, and I made a video about that game as well. Yeah, that was hilarious. That was absolutely hilarious. But yeah, it's super cool. I feel like, I mean, here's the thing, right? I don't want to claim like anything too seriously, because you know, I try to stay humble, but I do see like trends happen occasionally from some of the videos that I make, and so I'm like, oh, okay, everyone's starting to get really good at checking those corners for, you know, for a rogue aerial constructor, or you know, people are starting to get a little bit better about sending ticks across the map, or sending some, you know, some rovers across the map, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'm having an effect. That's really cool to see, and I absolutely love it. Nostradamus maneuver. Yeah, I agree with the Nostradamus maneuver. That was just a treat. It really was. There's no better way to put it. That was just an absolute treat. I was so happy to see that coming out. That is still by far my favorite way to end a game. By the way, just make a bunch of those transports. And the crazy thing is, you don't even have to build those you don't even have to build the beamer turrets. That's not even like, that's like optional. You can just build the transports and send them in. The beamers are like a nice little extra expense. If you need to get your metal down, you can't spend it all, but otherwise, if you just send those beamers in, their EMP beam is so powerful. It can actually hit air units. I don't know if you guys knew that. It can shoot actual planes out of the sky, which is really wonky because planes don't planes don't crash in this game. They just like stop on the ground. They just like bounce to a stop on the ground, which is really funny. Yeah, out of the way, Ragnarok and Calamity. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't know. There's a lot of really fun, nuanced endings to this game, and I think that's where a lot of the best players can really show their creativity. Right, Dolphy showing us the commando play, Baguette showing us the corner cheese on straight. That's a really good game ender. But also, yeah, I mean the Nostradamus maneuver. It's got to be up there for one of my favorite ways to use a creative unit. Especially because those transports really don't get as much love as they should. You know what else doesn't get as much love as it should is the Cortex transport, the T2 Cortex transport. Its uniqueness is that it's like incredibly strong, like super tanky. So there's absolutely no reason you actually couldn't do the same exact cheese just by moving or building a bunch of twin guard and sending those in with a bunch of the skyhooks. Now it's not going to work exactly the same because the paralysis does help a lot with shutting down any of the anti-air for the next round of transports that's coming in. But if the anti-air is tracking your units, like say, you know, you send in this first wave of units and, you know, the anti-air is going to be shooting backwards like this. Like say the anti-air is on this island. It's going to be shooting backwards, and then your next wave of anti-air, or your next wave of transports rather, that moves in is going to be, you know, they're going to start shooting at them right here, and then they're going to chase them back to like right here. And then eventually they're not going to be able to keep up with everything, and you're going to overwhelm it all, and you're just going to break through. I think it's called the Skyhook, the Cortex T2 aerial unit. Most epic ending ever. Yeah, I have to agree. It was so cool to see. Commander late game is almost useless unless you think maybe you should make powerful upgrades to make him similar to... Oh, you're asking me a question. Commander late game is almost useless. Do you think maybe they should make powerful upgrade? That's an interesting question, actually. I talked to who was that? I was talking. It was after the content creator clash. We were all in a Discord and we were talking to each other, and at one point that conversation actually came up about upgrades, because the idea of upgrades is really interesting to me. Like you could purchase, you know, individual unit upgrades. So I think that's actually something that I would like to see in this game, where you have like maybe for bot labs you can purchase upgrades for specific units, or you know, like it's lab dependent. but also that would be a huge complexity to add on top of the already tremendous amount of units that there are in the game. I'm some sort of like freak of nature, so I just went and memorized every unit in the game, or just about anyway. I've got like 99% of them memorized. There's a few I slip up on every once in a while. Like I always get the Dreadnought here mixed up with the Destroyer, because they both start with a D. But as far as upgrading the actual stream, let's go. Yeah, that's right, Storm Chief. We're testing it out here. Gonna test the waters. But as far as actual commander upgrades go, it's kind of interesting. Like, the Legion commander gets upgrades, but honestly, it still doesn't make it relevant into the late game. Like, without the D-gun, it really just isn't strong enough. I think what they're trying to do with the Legion commander is find some sort of balance where they can make it strong enough as a unit without having the D-gun. But honestly, the D-gun is impossible to balance. Like, it's an insta-kill, case in point here, right? God, isn't that beautiful with live streams? I could just talk about things and point at them in the stream. Beautiful. Yeah, I really like it. But yeah, that being said, I mean, there's just no way to balance the D-gun. Like, it's intentionally imbalanced. But if you try and, like, balance upgrades around it, it's just never going to work. Now, one thing you might do is maybe make the D-gun a late game, make it like a late game thing only. So, like, you purchase upgrades for the commander, and one of those upgrades might be the D-gun, or maybe the commanders just upgrade automatically, like the Legion one does. But either way, it's kind of like there's options there, but it's just you're adding more and more complexity. I saw a comment about it being like 0K. Yeah, Boss Keith said downloaded but nervous. Looks a lot like 0K, which was really confusing to me. Enjoyed Super Commander, Supreme Commander, and Planetary Annihilation Titans. Yeah, I would say, I mean, you're on one hand, I'm always going to be enthusiastic that you give it a try, right? Just because I love this game, obviously. But I can't deny that it is pretty complicated. Like, there's a lot to learn. In my mind, that's one of the reasons to actually invest in it. One reason to learn the game is because of all the interesting complexities that you can learn about. But on the other hand, I can totally understand if that's aversive. Gatling D-gun. If you've ever played against the Scavengers AI, that's kind of what I have in my mind. They do something sort of like a Gatling D-gun, where it will just shoot these big, like, fields of D-gun fire in kind of like a flower pattern, just all around it. And it just destroys everything, and those D-guns travel for miles and miles. Maybe make the D-gun reach further. That's one upgrade that could be valuable, or one way to make the commanders more threatening in the late game. Yeah, just make the D-gun more viable. The other thing that could make commanders more of a late game unit is, like, maybe after, I don't know, minute 25 or something. See, you can't put a timer on it though, because then you run into the issue of, like, do you balance it for new players, or do you balance it for the pro players that can have T3 up by like 20 minutes or whatever? But anyways, at some point you figure out some way to make it so that the commander gets a shield bubble, which is another thing that the Scavengers have that I think could be implemented in some fashion, or just make that a unit. That's another way to do that I think would probably work out well. Some sort of shield unit. Definitely seems like something right up Legion's alley here. What I would really love is if we saw more of a dependence on using the different factions for their different strengths. Because, like, right now, you kind of can just vaguely choose whether you want to use Cortex or Armada, and no matter what you choose, you're going to be in a pretty good spot here. But it would be cool if it would be advantageous to have a Cortex and an Armada, you know what I mean? Nukes equal fireworks, beamer drop equals laser show, yeah. Well, it's also it's a double laser show, right? Because you get those EMP beams, which for one sound really awesome. The doom, doom, doom. But then yeah, you get the beamer light show, right? It totally reminds me of, like, Warhammer 40K infantrymen that are just like the laser laser flashlights or whatever. The gun is like everyone calls it the Imperial flashlight because it just fires a little laser pointer. Hello there, Devilman. I'm gonna assume whenever I see someone say hello there, I just assume they're saying it in the Obi-Wan Kenobi voice. Hello there. Could see some kind of D-gun artillery shot. Interesting. That might be a little too powerful for my taste. I don't know if, it's a slippery slope, friend, because as soon as you put the D-gun on any one unit, you're going to have a really hard time balancing it out to, like, well, how valuable is it, right? I mean, the The behemoth for Cortex has like D-gun bait, right? It looks like a D-gun. It's pretty close to a D-gun. It basically one-shots every unit that you have, but it's kind of hard to balance that because it does so much damage all over the place. I do like the pawn launcher though. I'd love to see if they could find some way to balance that and put it into the game. Yeah. Talking to the Discord, saying there might be a new faction coming similar to Zergs from StarCraft. Is it true? I don't know. The only faction that I know about at the moment that isn't Cortex or Armada is Legion. Legion does have drones, which are sort of Zerg-like in the sense that, well, actually everything for Legion is basically like, sort of like low cost, high damage. So it's basically like all glass cannons and low health as well. So it is kind of Zerg-like in that sense. But it's not quite as like melee focused as you might be thinking. That would be kind of cool if we did get to see some melee stuff. But the problem with melee is it sort of doesn't really fit the engine, right? Like everything is projectile based in this game, so it's pretty hard. Looks like the lobby is dying here. Try and relocate in a second, but it gives me a chance to practice for when that happens in a real stream. For the Emperor flashlights, yeah. If they made scavengers into a playable faction, well, sort of. I mean, you can actually toggle that. If you go into the advanced options here, you can do. Where is it? You can turn on Legion faction, extra unit pack, formerly known as scavenger units. Yeah. Oh, okay. So they did change it. Yeah, this used to be called enable scavenger units. These are like a whole bunch of random units that are just like absolutely over the top, and you can kind of get a sense for what the scavengers had. Insert Maul Kenobi. Dude, Darth Maul. Okay, I'm gonna give you a little side tangent here. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. Let me just put that out there first and foremost. Darth Maul may very well be like my favorite Star Wars character to analyze. Like as far as like a plot for a character goes, I mean, like, minor spoiler alert, right? I'll give you a second. I'm gonna talk about this for a second. So spoiler alert. I don't know how that works on stream, but he like literally gets kidnapped and then experimented on by Force witches, and then turned into like a evil apprentice. Gets recruited by Dooku. No, was it Dooku or was it Sidious? I forget where he started, but eventually he finds himself under Sidious, and then he quote unquote dies right when he gets chopped in half. All right, I'm gonna switch lobbies here, try and find something else so we can watch while we talk. They're all pretty full. One of them was more full than others, though. Was it the one that I was just on? That's funny. It is the one I'm already hovering on. That's hilarious. We'll go to the Supreme Straits map. But yeah, the like he gets quote unquote killed, right? Gets chopped in half, falls down that trash chute or whatever it was, and then turns out he survived by using the Force to cobble together a spider body, where his like half brother or whatever goes and finds him and brings him back, and then goes on a whole tirade for the Clone Wars. Ends up becoming one of the first people to figure out that Order 66 is going to happen, and then gets captured by Imperial, or by was it Imperial by that point? Well, anyway, gets captured by clones and clone troopers for the Republic, and then dies before, or dies trying to chase down Kenobi. And like the last battle between him and Kenobi, which I think happens in Star Wars Rebels, I want to say, is like, it's so beautiful. So to end this tirade, if you've never seen it, go watch the Clone Wars, Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I think it's the very last season. It's the arc where Obi-Wan Kenobi is, or rather where Darth Maul has taken over Mandalore. Essentially, he's like literally conquered Mandalore with his brother. Just look up on YouTube, look up the fight scene between him and Ahsoka, and it is literally the best animated fight scene. Like, well, as far as, you know, that style of animation goes, I'm not going to claim it's the best animated fight scene, right? There's toes to step on there. But like, go look up that fight scene, and I like, I can guarantee you're gonna be blown away by the amount of love that went into that fight scene to make it so detailed and well animated. It was all motion capped and then animated over, so it's all fluid and looks really beautiful. And then once you're done with that, you go look at the final fight scene between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Maul in Star Wars Rebels, and it is beautiful. Like, you can literally break down the fight scene into this like negotiation between the characters, where Obi-Wan is like, he takes his old battle stance with the 2 fingers forward. I'm doing it right now. I know you guys can't see me, but he puts his 2 fingers forward with the lightsaber, right? And then he switches into a different form that's more defensive, and it was the form that Qui-Gon Jinn used. And so it tricked Darth Maul into trying to do the same move that he used on Qui-Gon Jinn, which then Obi-Wan uses that overconfidence to defeat him. And like, his last dying words are something like, you know, is he the chosen one, or something in reference to Anakin Skywalker. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Man, I could talk about Star Wars forever. Now, I do have to acknowledge the person in here. Oh, your favorite from Jedi, or your favorite Jedi is Jar Jar. I think you mean your favorite Sith is Jar Jar. We all know Jar Jar was actually the orchestrator behind the entire thing. Somebody in here said, YouTube unsubbed you? Glad this came up on my home screen. Oh. Sorry, Andy Derp. I don't know what happened. YouTube's shadow banning me, I guess. Somebody mentioned that they liked Star Trek more than Star Wars, and here, listen to me. I see your point, right? Star Trek and Star Wars have long been at each other's throat, and in my humble opinion, I don't see why. I think they're completely different stories. I think Star Wars is a much less human-centric story, whereas I think Star Trek is much more of like an approach to like humanity in space, where Star Wars is like, yeah, they're humans, but that's not really the central point of any of it. Like, the whole point, it's like it's a opera. It's a space opera. Yeah, there you go. Storm Chief put it in the chat. Thank you for that. Is he the chosen one? Let me do some voice acting. Is he the chosen one? He is. He will avenge us. And then he dies. He dies on the spot. Oh my god, what a beautiful scene. I love that scene so much. It really is absolutely phenomenal. Sloppy B, what a name. Should move around in the game while I'm streaming. No Jedi. What was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about Star Trek versus Star Wars. I've always thought that Star Trek was like, I don't think they occupy the same space. I think they both have space in them. Like, they both have far future technology, right? Far past, whatever, I know. But, you know, that's kind of like where I think the similarities stop. Like, realistically, I don't really think they step on each other's toes. I think there's plenty of room to enjoy both of them for the stories that they try to tell, and I think that, you know, I'm definitely not a fan of gatekeeping in any sense, so I would definitely encourage everyone to take the opportunity to look at both. Do you have a favorite Star Trek? Because I'm definitely less well versed in Star Trek. The thing is, I inherited my love of Star Wars from my dad. I didn't inherit a love of Star Trek, so any love for Star Trek I've built has been like on my own back. You know what I mean? I don't get to inherit that one, which is fine. Like, you know, my dad grew up with Star Wars, so I did too. It was what I watched literally every time I was sick when I was a kid, and I think it was just because my dad was taking care of me when I was sick, and so he just wanted to watch Star Wars, and I was like, okay, this looks fun. Looked like they were going to do some Maul stuff at the end of Solo movie, but, well, we know where the potential Solo branch franchise went. Yeah. Yep. It is, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. The Solo TV series, or not the Solo TVs, the Obi-Wan TV series, I was really hoping to get a whole lot more of. Absolutely, but, yeah, the Solo movie, I was kind of disappointed. It wasn't even that I was disappointed. It was just, like, non-memorable. Like, even now, I try and think back to it, and I just can't put it to mind. May the Force live long and prosper. There you go. I like that. Purple lightsaber greater than all. Oh, hell yeah. No, I won't contest that at all. I love the story behind the purple lightsaber. For anybody who hasn't heard it before, it was literally like Samuel Jackson had this talk where he was like, he basically went up to George Lucas. I almost didn't remember that name. Boy, that would have been bad. He went up to Dave Lucas and was literally like, so what colors are there? And George Lucas was like, well, the good guys use blue and green and the bad guys use red. And he kind of looked away and looked at George Lucas out of the side of his eye and was like, so anybody use purple? And George Lucas said, well, maybe some of the Jedi use purple. Yeah, maybe some of them use purple. And that's the story of how he got a purple lightsaber, which is just hilarious. Star Trek has a lot of classic sci-fi, examining humanity. Star Wars has a lot more of the fantasy element in it. Exactly, yeah. Andor blew my damn mind. Oh my god, Andor was amazing. I loved Andor so much. It was like exactly what I think gotta take a deep breath here. Andor was exactly what I've wanted out of a Star Wars movie for so long. I've wanted to see like what it actually looks like for the like actual person living inside of the the Galactic Republic or the Empire, whatever stage it's in at that time. I think we've all wanted to see that for so long, and it's been really, really nice to. Ooh, Resbach got killed over there. That sucks. It was. I don't know. It was just such an epic take. The characters were really understandable. That's what really gets me. Is like you got to have some sort of empathetic character. Like if I can't understand what the character cares about, if I can't empathize with the characters, you're just never going to convince me that I should watch your show. And Andor did a really good job of that. I really think they hit the nail on the head with that one, and I have to give them props for that. Halo and Star Wars. Don't even get me started on Halo too. That was. Gosh, was that the first video game I ever played? I have this crazy memory of I wasn't playing. I was like a little kid, and my dad and my uncle were both playing Halo. It might have been Halo Combat Evolved actually, but they were playing some Halo game on the screen, and like my like dweebus little mind couldn't comprehend first person. And they were holding the needler, and so in my mind I was just like, why does that guy's head have all those crystals growing out of it? Because I thought the gun was like the head of some guy. And it took me like it was literally like years that memory came back to me, and I was like, oh, this is like somebody was holding a gun. It wasn't. Anyway, really dumb. Purple drank. Andy, by the way, I hope you figured that out. That's really weird that you were shadow unsubscribed or whatever. I don't know. Also, that's like the kindest. I did see your message about that being like your what is it? Oh, hold on, let me find it. Routine to chill and watch every few days. That's the kindest compliment you can give any kind of creator. Especially when I hear like people say they love to put on the videos and go and make food or go watch have dinner or something like that. That is like unironically. I empathize with that quite a lot. I'm definitely the kind of person that loves to watch something when I'm eating food. A lot of people call that an iPad kid, iPad baby, whatever. I don't think so. I think it's no different than wanting to watch sports when you're watching TV or something like that. I don't know. I just like to be entertained. So to be able to give that to somebody that's like truly, unironically, got to be one of my favorite compliments I've ever received. To date myself, college Halo LAN parties are still a favorite memory of mine. Oh yeah, LAN parties, man. It's been a while since those have been relevant, huh? TV show isn't Halo. Yeah, don't watch the Halo TV show. I'm sorry. I really wish I could endorse it, but I just can't. Here's actually what I got to say about the Halo TV show. They undersell how powerful the Spartans are. That's like literally I have to. It shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be a problem to demonstrate how powerful Halo Marines are, or I mean Halo Spartans are. But canonically, they're so powerful that when you try to put that into a movie, you either need like a box office budget like the Avengers to make someone look like the Hulk that's the size of, like an 8 foot tall dude, or you need like incredible directing skills. And I don't want to bash on anyone individually, but like the Halo series just didn't have either of those, so it was kind of doomed from the start. Speaking of good movies, by the way, how's everyone feel about Puss in Boots: The Last Wish? because I gotta tell you, that was probably my favorite cinema masterpiece that DreamWorks has produced in, like, I don't know, forever. That movie was absolutely amazing. Yeah, you're right. The red team is without Navy on this map. The orange player has gone full hover mode. The brown player for the red team has also gone full hover mode. In fact, full rocket hover mode, which is quite interesting. Don't know what our plan is for if we have to hit a moving target, but I suppose we'll figure that out when we get there. These bombers are about to come in and hit like a truck. Look at this. No air defenses. Perfect scout of this entire side. This is about to hurt so bad. Oh, never mind. Bombers change targets. Nicely done. Splitting up these bombers, by the way. Zach 12027 showing us exactly what they can bring to the table. Saw your Cortex video, especially the crawling bomb. Yeah, they are broken, but wait till you try tactical missiles. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's you got a good point there. Those tactical missiles can be so annoying to play against. As a well-versed Armada player, I can tell you, don't worry. I've definitely been very, very upset about watching just some critical point of defense be absolutely melted away by a bunch of tactical missiles launched from God knows where into the back of my base. Yeah, it's frustrating. I can't complain, though. I have fallen in love with the EMP missile, this bad boy. The Paralyzer. This thing, I mean, look at the range on this thing. Literally ginormous. You can put one of these, like, back here, and you could paralyze the entire front line. Seriously, the Paralyzer is so underutilized in this game, and there's some awesome maneuvers you can do with it. Always two there are. No more, no less. The Scout and its bomber. That's very good. That's very good. Yeah, this is the way of the Sith. Always two there are. The Scout and the bomber. No more, no less. When should I go bots and when should I go vehicles? I still can't tell. I will give you a really easy description of when exactly you should do that right now. So if we take a look at the terrain right here. You see how the terrain is all at a slant like this? That actually gives you a huge disadvantage to vehicles. Vehicles have a really, really hard time going up hills, which, like, I know that sounds dumb. I'm not being facetious here. I'm genuinely being, honest about this, being accurate about this. The vehicles have a really hard time going up slanted hills. So if your map has more hills than it has open, flat terrain, you're going to be in a much better position to go with bots. Something like this right here, where it's completely flat terrain, you're going to be in a way better position going for vehicles. And that is 90% of the time the difference between going bots and vehicles. By the way, tried the jammer bot on transport thing. Miraculously, it worked, right? Yeah, it's actually really interesting. I discovered that by accident, but yeah, you can actually carry a radar jammer bot, or vehicle, I suppose, with a transport, and it actually works. It's like mobile anti-radar. And yeah, it works great against Mercuries because Mercuries or Screamers if you're a filthy Cortex player. Yeah, it works great against them because they rely on that radar detection to fire that missile at you, and then once it gets within vision, it can bomb you out. But yeah, it is actually a really interesting idea to pick up a bunch of those. Excuse me, a bunch of those radar jammers with some transports, and then fold them into your Air Force, so that you aren't shot down by a bunch of long-range missile turrets. Which one is stronger in a direct confrontation? Vehicles. Vehicles will always win in a direct confrontation. But again, there's one exception to that, and it's if you're absolutely goated, you can take really good engagements, and you can reclaim off the front lines. But even then, if it's a fair fight, right? Like you have the same amount of metal in bots and vehicles. Say you have, I don't know, let's just hypothetically say you have like a line of thugs over here, and then you have a line of brutes over here. So that's the Cortex bot, the Cortex Assault bot. What does that be? Jesus. So you have like a line of thugs and a line of brutes, and you have the same amount of metal on both sides. The brutes are going to win if they're just doing Civil War line up and shoot at each other strategies. The beauty of bots, though, is that you don't have to use them like that. The beauty of bots is that you can send them around choke points, you can send them around, wherever, you can flank with them, you can outmaneuver with them. They're very fast, they're good on all terrain. That's the beauty of bots. But if you are just forced into a choke point, like say for instance right here on Supreme Straits, where there's literally only so much distance that you can possibly traverse with bots here, yeah, it's gonna be impractical to go for bots. In fact, I think that's what we just saw here. The player here was going for bots. There is a vehicle base, so maybe they're trying to get vehicles out eventually. But yeah, going for bots early on is okay, but if you eventually are gonna go up against vehicles, you need vehicles as well. Pause, someone's lagging. This is kind of an annoying thing to do. If your team is already losing the game, it's not really not so important here. But I mean, I guess I understand. I wouldn't want to be kicked out of a game either. I think I played with Levish before. 89 seconds behind. Interesting. Gives me a chance to catch up on the stream. What's up, Michael Graham? Welcome to the stream. Live stream. What? Yep, that's right. Giving it a test run here to see, well, I guess how things are working. Give me some feedback in chat, by the way. Looking for, I mean, that's the whole point of this. I'm trying to figure out audio settings, trying to figure out video settings, see how it looks, see how it feels, see how everybody is doing, of course, and have a fun conversation. We're talking about Star Wars. We're talking about Warhammer 40K. We're talking about all the good stuff today. Stealth with the jammer transport combo. Now there is an idea. Yeah, you pick up a jammer bot and you fly it overhead your stealth tanks, or you fly it overhead a what are they called? The scuttle, the Cortex scuttle. Where's the Cortex? No Cortex. Wait, what is this? All Armada? Oh, this team's entirely Armada. That's interesting. There's got to be a Cortex over here, right? Yeah. No Cortex T2 bots, though? This is a weird game. This is a really odd game. Everyone's going for odd strategies here. Anyway, yeah, you fly the radar jammer over the scuttle, and it's going to mask the radar presence, and then you self-destruct the scuttle, and it is like a tactical nuke landing. I don't know if it's exactly the same damage-wise, but it sure feels like it. Stealth with the jammer transport combo would probably work better if the transport wasn't blasting Ride of the Valkyrie. I didn't read your whole comment. That's hilarious. I feel like no strategy going to beat transporting 200 Starlight turrets and landing them in the enemy base. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to top that, right? It's just so. I mean, my reaction was captured perfectly in that video, but I was just like, oh, we're going for a bunch of T2 aircraft plants. How interesting. I wonder what we will be doing. And then he turns on the transporter, and I'm just like, what? What are we doing? Just couldn't figure it out for the life of me. And then I see the beamer start up, and it just like the realization hit me, and I was like, oh. I felt pretty dumb in that moment for well, more so just for not having thought of that before, because that is absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. What's my favorite map? That is a hard one. I'm really liking Ascendancy, although the more I play it, you know, it's hard to tell whether it's because I suck at it or because it's you know, it is actually something wrong with the map. The more I play it, the more I'm starting to dislike it. But maybe that's, you know, that's just kind of natural for the course of playing any map, right? You know, eventually you kind of get tired of it. But right now I'm really liking Ascendancy. I'm always going to be a fan of Supreme Straight just because of how diverse the amount of options are. You really have the strategic theater at your fingertips, which is just really, really cool. See bots a lot on Straights more than other maps. I feel like Fat Boy, Hounds, and Snipers. Yeah. So that's the thing, right? There are ways to counter vehicles with bots. It's just not as well, it's not that it's not as cost effective. It's not as easily accessible. So yeah, for Armada, you have to build snipers to counter vehicles. That's really the only way to efficiently dispatch any amount of vehicles quick enough that you're going to survive. But also you have to have enough snipers out in order to do that, which is pretty difficult. Snipers are really, really energy dense. If we take a look here, snipers are 20,000 energy apiece, which is, I mean, super, super energy dense. If you look at like a Hound, 6,300, so 6, 12, 18, almost 3 times, a little more than 3 times the energy cost of a Hound. Yeah, getting snipers out is no small task. But once you do, they absolutely blow up every single vehicle that's out there. So it's a tricky balance between getting the vehicles out versus whether it's worth teching up to T2 in order to counter T1 and T2 vehicles, or whether it's worth just going T1 vehicles and spamming just as equivalently as they are, and then maybe just getting a little bit of a better trade here and there. Wow, you can see these Hounds absolutely devastating those blitzes, though. Hounds are a great counter to T1 bots. Sort of an easy way to think about it is T1 bots counter T1 bots counter T1 vehicles. Or no, sorry, hold on. Let me take a step back here. I was mesmerized by the advanced geothermal explosion. T1 bots, or T2 bots counter T1 bots. T2 vehicles counter T1 vehicles. But also all those same advantages that vehicles have over bots, the better damage, better health, all that sort of stuff. It also translates into T2. So the T2 vehicles are going to absolutely decimate T2 bots. Just the same way the T1 vehicles would absolutely decimate T1 bots. Going for some naval blockades here. This is actually effective against hovercraft and ships, not submarines or amphibious though. So it's kind of interesting to look at that comparison, but you also kind of just get a feel for the units, right? You play long enough and you realize, like, okay, you're going to see a Hound in like 90% of AV8 matches you're going to play. You're going to see a Sheldon or a Fiend in 100% of the matches you're going to play. Unless, of course, the entire enemy team went for Cortex or Cortex T2 vehicles for some reason, which blows my mind. Ooh, my man. That's my man, LW, here to show off. Here's the replay. Do we got a replay to look at? Brightworks, what? You should do a vid on unit upgrades. Claret got a bull to level 81. Claret got a bull to 81. Was it was it like a setup? Did they like feed this bull a bunch of kills or something, or was it like natural? Like within a game, he got a bunch of kills or something? Like I can't imagine doing that in an actual game. That must have been some sort of setup, right? No way. T1 to T1, T1 to T. Yeah, I know that was really difficult to get through. I get those numbers mixed up all the time. Dyslexia moment. Quality issues? Uh-oh. Yeah, let me know if there's some sort of quality issue. I need to monitor that. I should check out the website, actually, and see how things are going here. Stream health. It says it's looking alright for now. Well, yeah, let me know when the stream dips what it looks like. That is the point of this. As fun as this is, yeah, the point of this is to come up with some sort of baseline. What's the longest game you're willing to replay? That's a hard one. It's not so much the replay like itself that I'm not willing to look at. It's more so just like how long, like how much time I have to spend watching a replay. Because you got to remember, if a game is 90 minutes long, the replay will take 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, because the game slows down when you get into those late games. Like if a game is going to 90 minutes, I'll be honest with you, it's because it's a bunch of noobs playing and they get to the late game and they don't know how to finish the game. And what that usually ends up in is like just a metric buttload of T1 spam. And that tanks any computer that's gonna attempt to run it. So it's not like, I don't have a NASA built PC, so I just can't keep up with those ones. But that being said, I mean, the longest I generally go for is like under an hour-ish, more or less. Sometimes I dip above that and I'll make it some sort of special, right? Like the point of the video is that it's a long game. I tried out a format a while ago that was like how, where I would basically start the game midway through and it would just be a look at late game compositions and like late game tips, and that video did all right, but it didn't seem like there was too much interest in making another one or a sequel to that one. So let me know on another video if that sounds interesting to you. He rushed T2 on flats, then pulled a bull and repaired it with his comm and microed it so well. Oh, so it wasn't a game. Wow. Well, damn. That's pretty crazy. I don't think I've ever gotten a unit that high up. Looks like our red team is caved in here. Front line is disintegrated. Once your front line breaks on Supreme Straits, it's pretty hard to come back. Also, if you have no Navy at all. This entire sea, by the way, had no Navy on it. Which is pretty weird. When's the last time we've seen that, right? I find it odd that Age of Empires 4 players are adapting to this game way better than StarCraft. I wonder what is the reason for that. Well, I don't have a great answer for you. I I also don't have very much experience with Age of Empires 4. But I will say, StarCraft is a... how do I want to say this politely? There are a lot of shackles in StarCraft. There's a lot of bondages that you wear when you play StarCraft that you don't even know about. You don't even think about the fact that in this game you can change literally every setting under the sun. When you play StarCraft, you don't even think about that. You're too busy trying to memorize a build that has been figured out 2 years ago by the top StarCraft player that you will literally never be as good as. So when you come to Beyond All Reason, there's suddenly this freedom that comes with it, where you've suddenly been handed a this is live. Hello, Emoda MMLC, multimillionaire, whatever LLC, limited liability corporation. There's suddenly this freedom that comes with it, and I think probably, if I had to guess, AoE 4 probably has more of those freedoms available than StarCraft does, because I played a lot of StarCraft. Well, not a lot. I mean, I don't know. I played StarCraft. Let me just stop that there. I played StarCraft and I played Zerg, for anybody that's curious. But looks good on your end. Watch all your vids, man. Keep up the good stuff. Will do. And I appreciate that. And I'm glad to hear that it's looking good. That's the whole point of this stream. Trying to lock down the audio quality. I keep getting I keep distracting myself though by reading the comment section. I need to stop doing that. We were talking about, gosh, what were we talking about? StarCraft. That's right. StarCraft versus AoE 4 versus Bar. So, anyways, I think those liberties that you're afforded, the control scheme being so freeing. I mean, when you play StarCraft, you're one of the skills that you have to build is you have to figure out a way to micro your units into concave formations, because that's going to give you a way better trade. It will in every RTS game, because it's just math at the end of the day. There really is it's geometry and it's math, and it works out, and it has worked out for hundreds and hundreds of years. And I'm happy to show you guys why it works out in case you haven't seen the video where I talk about it when we get into this next match. But anyway, I think maybe my guess would be that AoE 4 players probably are used to having that reduction in limitation. So when they step into Bar, they don't have as much of a learning curve. And that being said, I think I wouldn't necessarily say that it puts StarCraft players at a disadvantage, but it might just mean that coming up to speed takes a little bit longer. Just like playing StarCraft. Coming up to speed in StarCraft takes forever. You have to learn the builds, and you can't just go play StarCraft multiplayer. You're gonna get your ass handed to you a couple times if you don't go look up a build or two, because that game is that figured out, whereas Bar isn't. I mean, you meet the people who are literally building Bar day by day when you play the game. If you go into those high true skill lobbies, you will meet the developers. Closed YouTube and came back. It fixed the quality issues. Must have been something on your end. Okay. Glad to hear that. I'll keep that in mind in case I have to suggest that to anybody else. Somebody said something interesting. Howdy, stream is looking good. That's good to hear. Is this live? I responded to that. Don't forget that this game is open source and totally free. Also, those sexy widgets. Exactly. That's exactly the right mindset to have. This game is lovingly developed by unpaid employees, right? This game is funded by donations. And think about how fun this game is. The hours of enjoyment you get out of this game for literally zero cost. By the way, I would encourage everyone to donate if you have the spare funds. I know I've been in the position where those funds are so tight and it is just not feasible. And I've been in those positions where it's just not reasonable. But if you are in a position where you have a little bit of love to give to the Beyond All Reason team, they have a link to donate on their website, and I would definitely encourage that. But anyways, yeah, this game is open source and totally free, and you, as well as anyone else, can contribute to the development of this game. And in fact, just by playing, you are contributing to the development of this game, because the developers play alongside you. And they get as much enjoyment out of playing alongside you as you do playing against anybody else. And in that sense, they get to, first of all, they get a hands-on report on what is actually going on in the game and the balance of the game. And when's the last time that you saw a Blizzard employee go jump into a game of StarCraft and then go edit the game? Because go tweak some game file because they thought that the ghost was a little too overpowered, right? So it's a double-edged sword, because you definitely get the love and care of people that have been playing these games for literal lifetimes, like years and years and years and years. But also it means you have to deal with some bugs and some quality issues and some stuff like that. And when I deal with that stuff, I just remind myself calmly, I'm contributing right now. I'm helping this game get a little bit better by discovering ways to absolutely smash it. So that's absolutely the right mindset. Get into that mindset, and you're gonna have a wonderful time playing and enjoying Beyond All Reason. It's not polished. There's some grit and some grime, and if you're not afraid to get your hands dirty learning some amazing mechanics, you're gonna be in a really, really nice spot. Bar is going to go far once it hits Steam. Oh, yeah. Bar is going to go crazy when it hits Steam. And I'll tell you why. It's because there are like 0 RTS games on Steam. Like 0. I mean, what's the biggest RTS game on Steam? It's got to be like Age of Empires, right? That's somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Do a Nostradamus. I'm not playing in these matches right now. I'm just spectating and checking out the stream quality. Maybe I'll play one here or there, but for now, we're just having a little chat. I do hope we see a Nostradamus, though. But yeah, I mean, think about that. Like, think about how many worldwide RTS games there are on Steam, right? And look at this right now. I mean, there's a lot of Americans in this game, particularly right now. But this is a really global game, so it's going to do tremendously well all around the world. I fear for the day when the South Koreans start picking up Beyond All Reason, because holy crap, we're gonna need extra servers. We're gonna need extra people. This game is gonna explode. They're gonna need a whole company. Like, literally, they're gonna need a company like Blizzard in order to not like Blizzard. Sorry, they're gonna need a company of the same scale as Blizzard in order to keep up with the expansion. At least that's what I see in my mind's eye anyways. Maybe I'm optimistic because I'm a content creator that loves to create content about Beyond All Reason, but I'm definitely not going to stop even if Bar flops miserably on Steam, even though I just doubt that it will. We are building an aircraft plant right on top of the... Oh no, we can't fit a metal extractor. I was a little worried we were gonna cover up this metal spot. Bar is the future. Couldn't have said it better myself. Hope the servers can keep up. Yeah, it's gonna be some interesting work. This game is gonna set the bar real high for RTS. Hardy, hardy, har, har. Yes, the bar puns will only get worse as more and more people come to play. Chuck, you're scaring me with that solar panel. Here's the deal, right? In that Cortex video, I was trying to figure out if T1 solar panels were viable. And I lost that game, and I think I mentioned in another video, or maybe it was that video, I tried some other games to use T1 solar panels, and I also lost every one of those games. So listen, I'm not saying that T1 solar panels are evil or that they're impossible to use. I'm just saying that I have like a 0% win rate when I'm using T1 solar panels. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I could see the modding community do well. Well, yeah, I mean, this game is a modding community. This game is the result of a modding community. So yeah, I have to agree with you. I think this game is already doing well, and it will only become better as it receives more and more support. If they can find some way to scale up the localized development of this game, in the sense that, like, you know, people playing the game can contribute to the game, but also the developers are the ones that like lovingly play this game. If they find a way to scale that up, because that's the challenge. That's why StarCraft is sort of stagnant. You know, other big titles are sort of stagnant like that. But if they can find a way to do that, then yeah, this game is going to be absolutely tremendous. There's going to be literally no limit to where this game can go as far as mods take it, as far as the actual development build goes. Like, yeah, it will be a class of its own. I genuinely, this was like the game that I was looking for, because there wasn't an RTS game of this size, that size and scale, that had some sort of like interesting quality about it. At least not when I was looking for games. And then I found Beyond All Reason. I was like, oh, you're telling me that I can have like essentially an unlimited amount of units out on the field. I don't have to build supply bunkers at all, or supply depots. Like, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. You're supposed to build the Overlord. You're supposed to build the drone. You're supposed to kill your drones for some reason. You're supposed to detriment your economy when you need more units for some reason, because that makes sense. Like, no, this is the future. Friend had trouble joining me when we last tried to play and couldn't. Is that common? It has not been an issue that I've run into. I typically found it pretty easy. Depends when you were doing that. There was some server issues a little while back. They did an update to the servers, and long story short, that update has been redacted or retracted off the servers, off the build version, because apparently it caused some funky issues, some memory leaks or something like that. New strategy, by the way, in case you're looking to build light laser turrets and you don't want them to get degunned like that, you stand in front of the turret now. That's the new meta. New LLT meta. Early 2000s were the peak of RTS gaming. Yeah, that was like Command and Conquer. That was AoE. Some of the AoEs were coming out. Definitely. Was Total Annihilation then, or was that Supreme Commander? I can't remember. Well, anyways. Have they announced the future price on Steam? I don't know. I don't care. I'll just buy it, whatever it is. They could charge me $60 and I'll buy it. That's how much faith I have that no matter what they put on Steam, no matter how finished or unfinished the product is, so much love is going to go into this game that it won't really matter. And also with the amount of unfinished games that we see on Steam, like, I mean, that kind of sounds biased towards like a negative thing. I don't mean that in a negative way, but I just mean like games that aren't like, they release like patches every once in a while. I forget the term for those, but anyway, the amount of those that we see on Steam, it's essentially like guaranteed that they're going to continue updating it on Steam, even no matter what they release. Like, it's just, if 50%, if 10% of the passion that goes into developing it right now goes into developing it on Steam, when it actually makes money, this is going to become like a really big project. Bar is literally limited by the fact that it is ran entirely by generous people who donate their time and love to make it possible. Some very fond memories of the original Total Annihilation series, fighting an infinite war. I just recently watched the intro cinematic, and man, going back to those it's just so lovely to see this. It really is. Best part, you don't have to deliver the resources to your base. Yeah, you don't have to wait for your stupid SCV to bring back the resource. You don't have to worry about probes building a photon cannon on your side of the map. You just have to worry about a commando laying 30 medium mines next to your advanced fusion reactor. It fills the hole Dawn of War carved lovingly into my chest. Things like Ultimate Apocalypse tried their best to fill. I haven't heard of Ultimate Apocalypse. I'll have to look into that. Dawn of War is a cool one, though. Brightworks walks into a bar. Why the long-range plasma cannon? It's not the why the long-range plasma cannon. It's why the gauntlet. Why the T1 plasma cannon? The T1 artillery battery. Where's the constructor? This bad boy. The agitator or the gauntlet? Medium plasma artillery. Couldn't remember what the label they gave those things were. This is my least favorite way to take this island, but it's probably the safest. You just walk the commander over here. It's like, it works, it's fine, but now that the commanders are essentially, well, I don't want to say immune to the light laser fire, but they're, that light laser fire damage has been tuned down pretty harshly. It's basically like, might as well just walk over here anyway. You can't throw up a defense in time to stop a commander unless you put like a couple of construction turrets or maybe a couple of constructors over here. I don't know. Dawn of War was fantastic. Definitely long for those days too. Barmageddon. Supreme Commander came after TA. Oh, okay, interesting. I get mixed up with those timelines a lot. Those like just barely outdate me. I played a lot of Command and Conquer. I played a lot of Command and Conquer. I think that might be where I started with my RTS passion. I played Halo Wars a lot too, but that definitely is like its own. That's its own thing for sure. Early access, yeah. Yeah, early access is definitely the right idea. It's, for what it's worth, though, it's like the most, as far as early access titles go on Steam, like I'd be so much more comfortable paying for this game than paying for like another game, just for the simple fact that I've like had the opportunity to interact with the developers, right? Like I can go on their Discord and I can literally ping a developer or a moderator or somebody at any time, and they're just like, yeah, what's up? How can I help you? And by the way, I could do that before I was a content creator. I did that frequently when I was just a regular Joe Schmo out in the streets. Those bar puns hurt my head. Yeah, sorry about that. Unfortunately, I love them, so you're gonna have to put up with it. Here it is. We just can't help ourselves. What was that? There's that art installation. I think it's called "I Just Can't Help Myself" or something to that effect. It's a big robotic arm that sweeps up oil. I think it's oil. It's some sort of like fluid that it needs. I don't know if it's oil or if it's some sort of like fuel source or something, but it's like constantly sweeping it back towards itself in a big puddle, and it's made this like terrible mess. I think the idea is eventually the machine's gonna just like die, and it's, you know, it's all poetic and whatnot. But man, what a waste of a super expensive robotic arm. Yeah. Talking about Dawn of War, tell me a little bit about Dawn of War. I haven't played it. I've seen Dawn of War before, but I've never actually gotten too much experience playing it. That's the Warhammer 40k RTS, right? With like the huge armies of like thousands and thousands of people, right? Is it confirmed that the game is not going to be free on Steam? No input or no. I have no data on that. I have no idea. I would assume it's probably not going to be free on Steam. I have no idea if they're planning on not doing that. If they are going to go free, I actually have no idea. I'm not part of that team. Just a humble fellow who loves the game and is willing to pay whatever price they'd ask me of it. But probably not. I would say it would probably go up. I mean, maybe they'd have like a legacy deal or something where, like, you know, if you've played the game and you have a certain true skill or something, or I don't know, if they find some way to like verify that you've played the game and you support it or something, or maybe it's people who've donated now or donated a certain threshold are going to be given the game for free. But I have no idea what they actually plan to do in the price points. God, I love amphibious tanks. Look at these Garpikes moving forward here. Wah, wah, wah. Sony Lopez in a ton of trouble now. As, a bunch of Garpikes roll right into their base and start ravaging the entire backline. Absolutely beautiful. You'll love to see it, ladies and gentlemen. The energy converters go boom, and it's going to start a devastating chain reaction as the windmills collapse, leaving this commander with nothing but a bank of windmills to their name and a commander with a sad face. Look at that poor man go. Gonna have to rebuild from absolutely dumb-diddly squat with nothing to their name. Love amphibious tanks. I really think they're underutilized. So underutilized. Do you like speccing low true skill games more often than high true skill games? I don't have a preference. Maybe that's not true though. Maybe I personally, so here's the thing, right? If I want to improve in the game, I'm going to watch high true skill games. If I want to be entertained by some interesting strategies, I'm probably going to watch some low true skill games. So there's value to watching both. I find it's pretty like, yeah, I don't know. I find value in both watching higher true skill games and also lower true skill games. So I would say that they both offer different opportunities. But me personally, I'd probably watch higher true skill games if I had to pick one or the other. Luckily, I don't, so I can just watch all of them. But yeah. Alex Urikon says, "Hey, Brightworks Gaming, nice to see you. Is there any particular reason why you prefer lower true skill games over replays with Ragna, Malady, or Claret?" Oh, so sort of the same question. Yeah, I don't know. It's not that I prefer them. It's just that they're in much higher quantity. There's just a lot more lower true skill games that I get sent and that I find, and so it's not. I'll take whatever I can get, and there's not any reason why I do or don't cover any game. I just like to watch them all. I find the low true skill games can be pretty entertaining, and also I feel like it's where the median of players are at in their beyond all reason journey, and so for that purpose, it's useful to highlight highlight mistakes on lower true skill games. There's more of them to highlight, so it's less likely that I'm going to miss them. But certainly the higher true skill games have their purpose as well, because they can show you what you probably should be doing. So it's like, do you like watching an example, or do you like watching an example of the correct idea or an example of the incorrect idea? Both of them get the point across, but it's just, this or that. Total Annihilation 1997. Did it really come out in 1997? Oh my god. That's crazy. Those players tend to play aggressively and create highly dynamic situations. Well, let me pose this to you. I put out that video with the 4v4s the other day, and I thought that was a really, really cool video because it had some high true skill players, but also I think the 4v4 situation creates a really, really cool interaction where the players are much more dynamically focused on, or not, well, that's not the right word. They're at the very least, they're more focused on protecting themselves and wrapping their entire lanes than just protecting their front line or something like that. Ooh, that was so close. I'm not sure why these bombers turned away when they could have hit that economy center. Construction turrets are one of the most annoying things to have to rebuild, so if you have the chance to bomb them, this is a super prime target. Absolutely would have loved to see those lit up right there. But yeah, as far as the dynamic and aggressive play goes, I would urge that everyone should start to play like that, and try their very best. But yeah, I can certainly start to cover some more higher true skill games. Seems like that's a prevailing input from the audience, and I'm always happy to listen to you guys. Paying for a game on Steam is a nightmare if you are from a third world country. Is it really? Oh, I didn't know that. That's really interesting. Yeah, I have no idea about that. Can you tell me about what that implies? I actually have no idea. Yeah, some people are confirming that. Can you actually give me some perspective on that? I don't know what you're talking about. It's just an issue I guess I've never had to deal with. Dawn of War's base game didn't give you too many units, but yeah, it's old. It's pretty good, but it really shows its age against something like Bar. That makes sense. Low true skill games are like when you don't know any better about a topic. You'll make decisions that more experienced folks might consider wrong, but end up breaking the mold with innovation. That's a good point. Yeah, there are sometimes some interesting solutions to problems that otherwise would never have been taken, and that is an interesting benefit. That's a good point you bring up there. I would love to see some. This is the Paladin of the North says, I would love to see some high true skill players give a crack to something like the speed metal map you showed off. Something stupid and silly might be fun to watch. Listen, I played Dolphy on speed metal a couple of times. It is terrifying. Listen to me. It is terrifying to go up against those guys on the speed metal map. That map is absolutely horrifying. It is a absolute treat to get to play on that map, but man, people that know what they're doing when they play that map, they will wreck you faster than you can say Shrek. Like, it is insane. But yeah, I will definitely try to find some high true skill players playing on a speed metal, because it looks completely different than the stuff that I've showed off. Frequently, I have to show off lower true skill players playing that map. Otherwise, the match literally ends by the 5-minute mark. So it's like, is that really worth making a whole video about? But yeah, I will. I'll try to find one that maybe goes the distance, or at least gets into T2 or something. More amphibious tanks rolling up the shore. Sure, you got some light gunships. What are those going to do in the next 5 minutes, right? Guard pikes, very happy to storm right up the beaches and wipe off all of this geothermal. So sad to see, but you'll love to see it. So, okay, hold on. We've got a response about the buying Steam games in a third world country. It means I have to pay money enough to buy a monitor just to buy a $40 game. Pay money enough to buy a monitor just to buy a $40 game. I'm a bit confused. What are you using to play the game if you don't have a monitor? Sorry, I'm like woefully ignorant about exactly what you're describing here, but the image that's now in my head is you've got like a computer. I'm not saying this sarcastically, by the way. I'm just trying to like actually put this together. But you've got like a computer and then a computer, and then you've got like I guess you would like take it somewhere and hook it up to a TV or something like that. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, well, hopefully it's not $40. Hopefully it'd be something like, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30. Maybe they'll go for the full $60 price point, but honestly, I feel like that's not really the culture of Beyond All Reason, is to go for, you know, stretching the amount of money, the most amount of money as possible out of their client base. I'd be surprised if they charge that much. I'm really sorry about that, Taha. Honestly, that was really just something I had never considered. We don't have international credit cards, so you do the math. Oh, okay. So you're saying like the transaction fees for like paying some sort of premium. I see. Yeah, I guess I mean I can see how that would be a hassle. Yeah. Well, I feel for you, man, and I hope not just for your sake, but for everyone's sake, that we get access to Beyond All Reason. Maybe for cheaper, hopefully for free or something like that, if you need it, you know, because it's a tough balance, right? Like on one hand, I really want to support the developers, and so I'm like willing to pay a price, but also I want anyone who wants to play bar to be able to play bar. So I would be like, you know, it's anyway. You get what I'm trying to say. It's tricky. Depending on your country's currency, I assume the conversion rate might be a killer. Going to Germany to work, that's cool. Tunisia, interesting. Dolphy is insane on any map. Dolphy is Dolphy on speed metal, there is no god. Yeah, Dolphy is like a machine that outputs pain and destruction, and you know, if they're on the other team, then you just do your best, and that's all you can be expected to do. Yeah, Dolphy is an absolute Chad for sure. They're another live streamer for anybody that might not know. Anybody who might not have seen the Dolphy video that just came out pretty recently. They're a live streamer. They stream on Twitch. Oh, it's Dolphy. Twitch.tv/oh, it's Dolphy. And they're a really common live streamer. They live stream often, so go check them out as well for some interesting stuff, for sure. For some really high level stuff, in case you're curious what a proper high level player looks like when they do this sort of thing. The rocket artillery. Oh, you're talking about the arbiters, right? Where did they go? I looked away for a second and they disappeared. They get blown up. Oh, here they are. Yeah, these guys. They're super satisfying. Any of the rocket launchers on this game are just so impactful. Like you can see the missiles, they have this like beautiful thud to them, and I absolutely love that about the missiles. Boom, 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 and there it goes. Doesn't even leave behind the wreckage, it just leaves the scrap. Yeah, those arbiters, man, they are something else. That's another difference that a lot of people fail to take into account, is the Cortex T2 bots are way better than the Armada T2 bots. Limitedly, I guess I should put that in quotes, right, or in parentheses, right? Like there are, not in every situation, but generally speaking, at the very least, the engineer you get from the T2 Cortex lab is way better than the engineer you get from the T2 Armada lab, at least as far as bots are concerned. But it is counteropposed by the Armada vehicle engineer being way better than the Cortex vehicle engineer. So that being said, you're definitely at an advantage if you go Armada vehicles and you get those T2 engineers out. The T2 Armada vehicle engineers, as well as the T2 Cortex bot engineer, can both produce some sort of combat unit. So for Armada, it's a Hound and Gunslinger. I think Recluses too, they can also build. And then for Cortex, they can build the Fiends, they can build the Commandos, and I think they can build something else. I'm blanking though. I think there's one other unit they can build. Anti-air attack flying missiles? I don't think so. I'm not sure where you saw that at, but I don't think so. Otherwise, anti-air would be a pretty good anti-nuke option. We don't have our T2 Cortex lab anymore. That's what I was looking for, was the Twitcher. Oh, here we are. So yeah, we can see the Twitcher can build, let's see, so it can build the Commando, the Duck, okay. Yeah, so we can build the Commando, the Duck, or the Fiend, and all of which are really, really powerful units. So, by the way, in case you're a Cortex player and you're playing a backline position, literally just send a single Twitcher out to anybody in front of you, and it's essentially a T2 upgrade in a jar, right? Like, it's super, super powerful. How long did you last in the speed metal ring against Dolphy? Oh, so actually it was a 3v1. It was a 3v1 against Dolphy, and we played a couple of games, and this was a long time ago, mind you. But from what I remember, one of the games we won by cheesing Dolphy and literally just comm dropping all three of our commanders, well, two of our commanders to kill him. That was one of the ways that we won, or the way that we won. And then every time after that, when we actually tried to play fair, he literally mopped the floor with all three of us. Like, he can manage 3 times our economy. Like, it's just nothing. So, yeah, we did not last very long. Dolphy is high APM troll and can be beaten with 1v1 in eco games. Well, yeah, I guess if you wanted to beat Dolphy, like, the easiest time to do it would be, you know, early on into the game when you could just drop a commander on them. But even so, like, Dolphy isn't going to tap out of a game, so you can count that they're going to have a little base somewhere else in the map where they've rebuilt, and, you know, in 15 minutes they're going to be back up to T2 and have a tremendous economy. And if anything, you've just removed, you've essentially set Dolphy into a tech position. So, yeah, what do you really want to deal with? Do you want to deal with Dolphy on the front line, or do you want to deal with Dolphy who's going for tech in the back line and has T3 by minute 20? Like, you know, choices, right? A Fiend. The Fiend is a T2 Cortex bot that the Twitcher can produce here. I highlighted Twitcher right here. Ooh, it's hiding right here on the side of this. But yeah, you can see the Fiend. Also known as a Pyro for older fans. Fast assault bot, super high damage, very, very dangerous. And Twitchers can just make them. They can just produce them. And so if you give a Twitcher to somebody on the front line, and then suddenly they have these Fiends out, which absolutely devastate any of the T1 units, suddenly things become really, really not so chill on the front lines. The tanks did crush this left flank, but the looks like the gunships actually cleaned it up pretty nicely. They recently tuned the Roughnecks. They actually gave these a little bit more attack speed, and I think they tuned the AoE slightly. Doesn't really look like it. Anyways, yeah, they tuned the Roughnecks a little bit, and I think I like them a little bit more. They actually can do quite a good amount of damage. They're supposed to be roughly equivalent to a pawn, but flying in the air, which is kind of an odd place to be, but it does work. But the downside is that they, in the past, they would fire at things and they would just completely miss whatever they were shooting at forever and ever. So it was really unimportant to make Roughnecks. It was almost always better to go for Hornets. A couple Roughnecks in the back could be good for like cleaning up any ticks or something that leak through. But even so, half the times they would miss, like I said, so it just wasn't even worth it. Now I want to play it. Don't forget radar jammer and mines for NGs. Oh yeah, that's a great option. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, the Twitchers can also build landmines here. If we go into utility, they can build the medium mines, which are really all you need. The heavy mines are great for T3, but realistically, what's probably going to break your front line is some sort of medium unit, like a bull or a couple of tigers or maybe a marauder or two. So building a couple of medium mines in your back line can really save you in a pinch. And yeah, all the engineers can build medium mines. I believe the Twitch, or the console can build medium mines as well. We can take a look here. Yep, there it is in the bottom, very bottom of the screen there. You can see it can build the medium mines. Second from the left on the bottom, or third from the left on the bottom row. Yeah, they can build those medium mines as well. So yeah, that's a good point. Thanks for bringing that up. Those medium mines can definitely do some work. This wall is not going to do much against the catapult. These catapults marching here. Those are Shivas, I just realized. That's the catapult. I was like, wait a second. Where are these catapults looking in the wrong direction? Why are they firing their missiles? Or why are they firing their like one missile? Doesn't make any sense. Whoa, that just shot down a gunship with its missiles. That's crazy. I love that all the weaponry in this game is is dynamic, and so it like takes up a physical space in the world. We've seen like bombers drop their bombs on fighters before. It's really interesting. Somebody said, was there a way to block missiles? Is there a way to intercept artillery and missiles? If it's plasma artillery, you can use one of these, a plasma deflector. And it doesn't intercept them, it just deflects it. So, you know, if something shoots at you from one angle, it's just going to bounce it around or try and push it backwards. Just basically keep it out of the bubble. Missiles and such cannot be deflected. There's not currently a deflector. There's a experimental setting you can toggle to make shields absorb everything. So rather than deflecting everything, it just absorbs it and drains the power. And so what that does is it just deletes any projectiles that come in contact with it, which is not the standard, but it is an interesting way to play because it does make these shield batteries a whole lot more powerful. Roughneck are for sure a good option, a go-to bot when I air and eco. Help the front line with them to start a snowball effect. Yeah, that's a good idea. I can definitely see that happening. Whoa, a couple Marauders popped up over here. That's always really nice. I'm telling you, man, amphibious units are the future. Like, if you can get a couple amphibious units onto the beachheads over here, you've essentially won. And if you've already won the naval battle, then it should probably be your next step. Also, what about this metal right here? 11,000 metal, 10,000 metal? Yeah, we need to eat that up right away. That widget is tremendously helpful. If you haven't seen the video on installing the widgets, go check that one out. It's going to make your game a whole lot better. That's a lot of bombers. Roughnecks on the front line, that's interesting. I mean, it's all fun and games until a couple of fighters swing by, right? Just blow everything out of the sky. That's my problem with the Roughnecks, is they're like a fairly high cost for a relatively easy to counter unit here. Wow, Cataphract's even doing a number on these Roughnecks. I don't know, they have their place. I wouldn't use them on the front line. I would use them defensively, if anything, using the cleanup tanks or anything like that that manage to break through. I mean, eco player mad with just one gremlin? Yeah, that sounds right. Gremlins can definitely be pretty difficult. Those are the stealth tanks, the Armada stealth tanks. Yeah, you can do some tricky plays with those for sure. Sneak one of those into the back line, tear apart all their unit production, shoot down all of their construction turrets. Yeah, gremlins can be pretty nasty. Any favorite underused units? Yeah, the Scuttle. The Cortex T2 bot, the Scuttle. It's literally a walking cloaked thermonuclear warhead, and it hits like one too. You can literally kill entire front lines of solid T2 units with a single Scuttle. They're absolutely busted, and I hardly ever see anyone use them. Yeah, they're by far my most favorite underappreciated unit. I can't even think of like the next best one, the closest second. It's like far and away my favorite underappreciated one. You need 3 gremlins to ensure alpha strike on Nano's E-converters. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Just 2 shots with the gremlin and there goes 300 per second metal production. Yep. Yeah, those gremlin can be nasty. They're actually pretty powerful. Just as far as tanks go in general, they're pretty powerful. Some Marauders were grouped up and it looks like the bombers were thinking about it. Bombers have such a hard time navigating around these cliffs here. Juggernaut is out. That'll clear this up eventually. Ooh, we do take down the anti-nuke. Ah, there's another one over here, luckily. Accidentally bombing down our own production facilities. I absolutely love that about these. Scuttle reminds me of the suicide grunts in Halo Wars, minus the whole being able to have them teleport onto your leader. Yep. Yeah, they do have some mirrored effects, don't they? Yeah, I love this Scuttle. I love the unit design of it. It's amphibious, it's low profile, it's tremendous damage. I mean, a Scuttle beats this push from Marauders, right? Like, you self-destruct a single Scuttle in the middle of all this. I don't know if it'd kill Marauders outright, but it would definitely bring them all down super, super low. They're just so powerful. Have some defense in base, yeah, for this reason right here. If you're gonna go tech, you might as well, right? At least on this choke point right here, get a couple of Scorpion batteries out and about, at the very least. Meanwhile, the first Juggernaut is making its way towards the front line. Whoops, the second Juggernaut is making its way towards the front line. This is a good use for Roughnecks. Just constantly whittling down juggernauts. If you get on it fast enough, and you have enough units, this is a great option here. Whoa, sacrificed a ton of those swarmers for essentially no effect. Because these things, I mean, they're not going to do like, they're not crazy, but every one of them is going to be able to hit this Juggernaut pretty consistently. Just, you know, it's a huge target, so. Juggernaut's going to start slowly burning down, and that's kind of the main thing that you're afforded with a Juggernaut is just the time, right? Like, you have a lot of time because it moves so slowly, but, you know, you're going to have to deal with its health pool, you're going to have to deal with the effect of it exploding. So killing it early is absolutely necessary. Just in killing the damn thing, we've nearly destroyed our entire front line of defenses. So yeah, you gotta be really proactive when dealing with those juggernauts. Forgot about the pawn cannon. Pawn cannon is quite a fun one. For anybody who hasn't played with the scavenger units, the pawn cannon is exactly what it sounds like. It literally shoots these it shoots pawns. It shoots the Armada pawns. You can charge up to like 50 of them or something inside of it, and it will just rapid fire pawns across the map, and you can just deploy them like, you know, like you would artillery or like a long range plasma cannon, but it just is literally, it just fires pawns. They're absolutely insane. They can really do some pretty crazy work. There's a reason why they're experimental and why those aren't part of the base game. They're absolutely busted. Absolutely busted. Amphibious bombs are not easy to use. They completely blind, so you need sonar vision. Not easy, so get the sonar is not an option. Not easy to get when sonar is not an option. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point, yeah. They are completely blind underwater. I would never use the Armada T2 bomb, the Tumbleweed. I would absolutely never use that one. I don't use the Bedbug either, which is the amphibious crawling bomb for Cortex. It's like the low quality one. I exclusively use the Scuttle. But yeah, you're absolutely right. They are completely blind, so you do need some sort of like sonar plane or subs in the area, or just to know where the production facilities are at. Man, we see this every game, but nobody ever wants to counter this. You just got to put a single shield battery up, and it stops this entire aggression right now. Nope. I'm just going to watch our economy get exploded. So sad. Capital ships are a little bit overrated, in my opinion. You asked for my most underrated, but I think capital ships are kind of my most overrated unit. There we go. They have a lot of shortcomings that I think make them a lot less valuable than like a single amphibious gantry, like 20 T1 tanks or something like that. Like, sure, we can shell away at this base for however long we care to, but at the end of the day, like, this is effectively getting nothing done, and it only takes 1 or 2 plasma generators to completely shut down the aggression from a capital ship. That and the fact that they're so prone to torpedo bombing, they're prone to submarine warfare. So if you get some ducks out or something like that, yeah, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of capital ships. I think $17,000 worth of metal could be spent on economy that could be turned into seaplane bombers, or turned into amphibious units, turned into hovercraft, turned into a whole lot of things that just ultimately will end up being a lot more effective. I pity the submarine that decides to blow up that unidentified blip only to discover it's a scuttle. Yeah, right. Oh, that's a weird. It's weird that there's an unmarked radar presence underneath the water. Better go send my prized serpent to go blow that up. Only for it to be a scuttle, and it just destroys everything. Yeah, that would be pretty funny. That would be pretty funny. What's the problem with the Tumbleweed? I'll tell you what the problem with the Tumbleweed is. Everything. It's too slow. I've never been able to maneuver them into position before they get shot down. So like, you know, maybe there's a use case for it right here, like in this specific scenario where you can see that there's battleships which have no underwater capabilities. There's the flagship which has no underwater capabilities. But even then, how are you going to get up to them? Because like presumably you're going to build them on land because it's a T2 bot lab. So what are you going to do? You're going to roll it down the beachhead, which gives it plenty of time for the ship here to shoot it. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. There's no way to effectively use them. Like they're great in theory, but there's no actual effective way to deploy them in any sort of like meaningful enough route that's going to allow them to actually hit their intended target virtually ever. Torpedo bomber's looking real solid right now. Torpedo bombers can get real janky when sometimes they try to drop their torpedoes and they just land on, well, land. How much metal does a Juggernaut give when reclaimed? Yeah, I think it's 17. Yeah, 17,400. Pretty close to 18,000. Pretty tremendous investment. Almost always better to resurrect it if you can, because you know if there's a Juggernaut on your front line, that obviously means, okay, that's enough. Thank you. That obviously means that they have the capability of producing more Juggernauts. And so with that in mind, you might want to resurrect it so that you have some kind of defense against Juggernauts, right? So that's why most of the time it's usually encouraged to resurrect them, but it can be fun. It can be the funds that you need in order to pay for a T3 tech transition. You can also just eat up regular T3 units, though, so it's probably better to eat up these Shiva lying on the floor or any of these debris. There's probably thousands and thousands and thousands of metal left over on the floor here. 51,000, yeah. Tons of metal left over. That's probably better to eat all of that before you eat up the Juggernaut corpse. Unless, of course, you're going to lose control of it. Tumbleweed is the cheapest option against the Marauder underwater push. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, the Marauder push underwater. Again, if Marauders are probably pushing your waterways, you probably don't have control of the water, so I don't know how you're going to have control of the sea, or control of the shore, to get the Tumbleweeds into the water. But yeah, I mean, if you can get the Tumbleweeds into the water, and you know where the Marauders are, and you have them in position in time in order to counter the Marauders, that's one good option for them. But yeah, there's a lot of ifs that go into making that happen, and in practicality, I think it's pretty difficult to pull off. I only use Tumbleweed when I can use terrain to block radar in far line of sight. A surprise pop around a corner can really clear an army, especially on Controlled E. That's a good point, yeah. That is a good option. Maybe hide one or two of them around this corner here, and some fiends run around, take out all this economy, think they're going to get clever, loop around and kill this player, only to discover they've run right into a a bomb on wheels. An improvised explosive wheel. Scuttle won't destroy Serpents. Serpents are underwater starlights, hit from afar. Yeah, but they're pretty soft. I don't know. Maybe not. Yeah, you're right. 35,000 health. Yeah, it's pretty beefy. They do good damage though. I think it takes 2 of them to kill a mammoth. I know that much. Let's see. Oh, there's no Cortex. Drat. There's no Cortex anywhere on this map. We have 1 Cortex player and they're already on T3. Wow, and they're really on T3. Look at that. 2 T3 gantries producing at the same time. At least they're able to spend their metal. That's something that a lot of people have a problem with. Spending that metal late game can actually become a really difficult issue. Sometimes it's not an issue, though, because you just send that metal to your teammates. Respect the job. Orange blew up. Will Tumbleweed spam counter other spam if no chain? If no chain, yes. But unfortunately, that's it's not the bar that we live in. And yeah, Tumbleweeds. If you're going to produce any of them in any significant quantity, you're going to produce them in a pattern that they're going to be streaming out fast enough that they're going to chain react. And I've never seen it, but it would be hilarious to watch them chain react all the way backwards, like a Looney Tunes gunpowder trail, where they just one of them explodes over on the front line, and then it just boom, and the entire facility goes up because a bunch of Tumbleweeds chain reacted backwards. That would be absolutely hilarious to see. Tragic, don't get me wrong, but hilarious. I think Tumbleweed needs a buff for sure. I think it could do with a movement speed buff. I think that would probably be good enough to make it usable. Maybe keep its movement speed underwater and increase it on land, or increase its movement speed underwater but keep it on land. That way, it's at the very least, it's pointed in one direction or another. Because that's the thing, is I don't even know what it's meant to do. I don't know if it's meant as an anti-water mine, or if it's meant as a land mine. I just have no idea how to use the Tumbleweed because of all its shortcomings. But if it's got some sort of buff in one terrain or the other, at least I'm aware of how it's supposed to be used. It's easier for me to critique it and look at it for ways to make it better or worse or more balanced or whatever. In that sense as well. So yeah, I think choose one of the terrain and make it only focused on that one. Man, look at this. If we had amphibious labs over here, if Urban Jesus had a amphibious lab right here, and they built, I don't know, 20 T1 tanks, rolled them up the beach right now, they would kill the red player. Absolutely outright kill the red player. you have the toolkit. That is a lot of Thors. Someone mentioned that was a lot of Thors. That is a lot of Thors. Thors are a good counter to Juggernauts. Let's see here. Certainly when they get behind, they can do a tremendous amount of damage. Wow. Yeah, they actually melted that Juggernaut really quickly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Juggernaut goes down. Yeah, Thors do counter Juggernauts. You get a good surround. I think it's like 190% damage when you get a surround on a Juggernaut. Or, well, not a Juggernaut, anything. Sorry. Oh, the nuke comes out. Boom! Nuke goes down. Not much effect. Are we going to start carving a Supreme straight? Name drop. Immediately after Tumbleweed, Looney Tunes detonation blows up base. Wah, wah, wah. Been a while since I watched Looney Tunes. I don't think that was quite right. Probably better though. I'm not gonna get like monetized or like copyright struck or anything. This isn't monetized, by the way. This is a test stream. Welcome, by the way, anyone. I should probably look at the page and see the analytics. I'm getting a little carried away here. This is so fun. 19 people in the chat. Wow. Very, very nice. Stream is healthy. Stream health is excellent. I don't know what this means. No issues, minor issues. Looks like it's essentially all fine. I'm gonna assume that it's all good. Oh yeah, Thors are immune to paralyzation. They cannot be EMP'd. It's one of their superpowers, and it's always hilarious to watch what's it called? EMP bombers try and paralyze Thors and just to no effect. Yeah, they're super fun. Also, Thors have an EMP missile that they can fire when their ears are perked up. These little elf ears on the side here. Oh, nice D-guns, by the way. But when their little elf ears are perked up on the side, it means that they have an EMP missile charge, which you can shoot by hitting D. Is there any Thors left? I want to showcase this. There are no Thors left. Okay, well, my time has come. But yeah, if you hit D on those, you select it and you hit D, you can launch an EMP missile, and it's a great way to break lines. It's absolutely meant to break static defense lines like these pulsars. You can just paralyze these and then march in with the Thors, and yeah, suddenly what was once a sturdy defense against T3 units is now a non-defense against any units. Super powerful stuff. It feels like more units are coming out of the blue team here, but it feels like it's still not beating the red team, and I'm not sure why. We just have more and more capital ships. I have a feeling that's kind of just what we're going to keep spamming here, you know. If you're playing this position, just get a bunch of build power right here, and just go ham with the advanced fusion reactors all over here and energy converters right here. Because you've got this entire lane locked down, there's no way that they're going to harass you. You're basically free to turn this entire zone into a massive economy center. Some Nirvana logo for you. Was it a frown or a smiley face? I can't remember actually. Catapults used as offshore launchers here. That's kind of interesting. Oh yeah, Thors have EMP, so I'd be surprised if they're great against the EMP immune Jug. Yeah, that's a good point. The Juggernaut is immune to EMP, so it's not like that's going to be super tremendously effective. But certainly, I shouldn't say certainly. I meant the damage output that they can do when they are grouped up and surrounding Thor, or a Juggernaut rather. Trying to break the front line over here again. Amphibious units, guys. Build those amphibious. We're going into a proper late game now. Late game now. Throat's getting dry. Need a drink. How does this sound? Let me know what the acoustics of this are like so I can know if it's safe to drink on stream. Agua fresca. Muy bien. And that concludes all the Spanish that I know. No, that's not true. I took gosh, how many years was that? I think I took 3 years of Spanish in high school and retained, like, virtually none of it. It is what it is. This has been very fun. Also, the quality has been great the entire time, audio and video. That is phenomenal to hear. That's exactly the point of this stream. Figure out if there's any tweaks that need to be made. It sounds like, I mean, I'm thrilled because I essentially didn't change anything. These are just the recording parameters, and I'm just using my default streaming setup, or default recording setup for the streaming, and so that's really good to hear, but it's great to hear some confirmation from that. Red is just hard turtle, while blue is just not abusing those water lanes. Yep, you described it perfectly. Yo, out. Oh. Hello, it appears we have a viewer in the game here. Who is this? Can't see your name underwater there. Yep. Thank you very much. That's hilarious. They're gonna think that I'm like sponsoring myself here. That's funny. That's absolutely hilarious. Just stream more? Yeah, I'm happy to. It seems like everyone's having a good time. I'm really happy about it. Whoa, we finally get the APHIS here for violation. And it only took 4 capital ships. Yippee! Seeing those starlights without power is so sad. So sad. YouTube.com/Brightworks Gaming. Appreciate the shout out, guys. Always looking out for me. It's really fun to see. Who do we got in here? Sprock or Basmo? One of you two beautiful bastards. Looks like it's Sprock. Yeah, well, congratulations, Philip Miklik. This is the first live stream, so you're here. You made it. You're welcome to the live stream. This is the test stream to make sure that everything is in order for when I'm ready to start actually doing a scheduled live stream. Seems like a whole lot of fun, and I'm gonna have a lot of free time coming up soon. So this will be a fun occasion to do, and we'll have to see how much interest there is. And I'm sure once we get a schedule going, things are gonna look great. By the way, it always blows my mind how important that schedule is. It makes like perfect sense, but it blew my mind because I remember I was like late to upload a video, and that video did like 30% worse than standard just because of the fact that it was released a little bit late. But yeah, I think I'll have to come up with some sort of streaming schedule in order to figure out what the best times are going to be for everyone and how I want to do this. You do a sip. What are the chances of you being able to stream while you play? I know this is more difficult to manage. Yeah, it's possible. You're probably just not going to get this this quality of commentation. I tend to be pretty bad at focusing on too many things at once, and I definitely spread my APM all over my Beyond All Reason gameplay. So I'll definitely give it a shot in some future streams. I'll leave that for when I'm actually, you know, doing a downright and proper stream, one that I'm getting paid for. But yeah, well, I mean, you know, you'll see how it goes as well as I will. So yeah, feel free to let me know how you feel about that in the upcoming streams. I'm thinking about Saturdays, doing a stream on Saturdays and just starting small and seeing how I like it. Maybe we'll tweak the amount of videos that come out if I find it's too much work, or maybe we'll just tune the streams down and make them more low-key. It'll be a less high quality production budget, or a less, I guess I could say a less, you know, dedicated production budget. Juggernaut having an absolute field day, stomping all over these welders here. Beautiful. The absolute carnage. Whoops. Stream screen turned off here. What unit is the big hover from Goat Scuffle? Goat Scuffle is the brown player. Coming out of here. Oh, that was probably the Cataphract. It is the Cortex T3 hover tank, and it is probably my favorite tank. Convenient segue back to Star Wars, because tell me that thing isn't a droid battle tank, a droid main battle tank. Look at it. It's got the big swivel turret on top. It's got the hovercraft repulsor thing. This is absolutely a droid tank, which every time I see it, I make a note about it because I think it's absolutely hilarious. I love those things. I really do. I think they're a great option. They're one of the few like sustained laser fire options for the Cortex faction. Armada has like the Starlight. It has the Pulsar. It has the Titan. But yeah, for Cortex, you're really limited in that sense, and it's one of the only options that's out there, so I really like it. Probably just because it lets me play Armada as Cortex, so if that doesn't show my my Armada bias, I don't know what else does. Goat Scuffle, open the hover unit streaming. Yep, it's this one. Cataphract. I can't stream bar due to FPS drops and instability. I would consider that too with streaming. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Like if I'm actually the one playing. Well, technically the FPS gets a little bit better because when the fog of war is turned on, there's a lot less to load, and so you can see it actually improves a little bit. Certainly, it's going to be difficult to stream them if we have a massive T1 spam of a game coming out, but as long as we're playing with some of the better players, it's probably going to be less likely to happen that way. It's definitely a Star Wars droid rover. That's what I'm saying. It is the droid tank. Roger, roger. Roger, roger. Yeah. I can't remember the acronym. There's like a million of them for every single thing. Been watching some of your videos. You've been improving every time. Good job. Thanks a ton. That really means the world. You know, it's all because of the feedback I get from you guys. So it really does mean the world to hear that from you guys. Hear that I'm at least doing something right, in terms of making improvements where they're most important. What are we up to now in capital ships? 7. Punching through this shield like it's nothing. Not really like it's nothing. The shields are actually putting up a good fight, but yeah, we're leaking through. There goes the energy converters. There goes the build power, and that means the APHIS are going to be next up. Wah, 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 wah. And there goes Pink's production. We did see a huge explosion over here from this hero Thor that did sneak into the backline. Destroyed as he is. Not long for this earth was this beautiful Thor, but destroy the enemy did he. So you can self-destruct these juggernauts, and what that ends up doing is creating a much, much bigger explosion that will take out a lot of these aircraft here, so that's something that you can always consider. If you've got a Thor, or a juggernaut rather, underneath a bunch of aircraft, consider detonating it. Yeah, you're going to be in a pretty nice spot here. Ooh, a bunch of hover tanks are pushing forward. Actually, now that that base was wiped out, both red and the light pink player, yeah, a bunch of hovercraft can actually get some tremendous value. They're going to have to fight up against a bunch of T3, but that shouldn't be a tremendous problem. We have loads and loads of aircraft plants here. Would have loved to see a Nostradamus whipped out. We almost got our wish. Somebody was asking for a Nostradamus earlier. Almost got it in this game. So close, and yet so far. The droids had the coolest vehicles. They did have the coolest vehicles. You're absolutely right. The droids always had the coolest stuff. Yeah, I remember playing Battlefront way back in the day. Battlefront, Battlefront 2, both bangers. Not a big fan of the most recent Battlefront, but it was alright. But yeah, playing as the droids was always the coolest thing. They always had the dopest starships, the dopest vehicles. Really, really cool. Can we take a moment and appreciate the Droid Federation March theme? Dun, 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 dun. Oh wait, is that, that's Imperial March. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but yeah, we can take a moment to appreciate it, certainly. Someone's calling me. How do you like the trimmer update? I'm still a little unsure of the difference between the two nodes, or the two modes. Put it in chat if you know what it is, and you can clearly explain it. Because I'm still really confused about it. I know that like one of them is like it like has more AoE and fires faster or something, and then the other one is like less AoE, but it like does more damage or something. I'm really not sure, but I know it's significant. I barely play Cortex, and let alone I barely ever get to Cortex T2, especially vehicles of all things. So I really don't know. I just never get a chance to play with it. It's an AAT, by the way. I knew someone would know. There's always somebody who has like every one of those units memorized, or every one of those acronyms memorized. Thank you very much. Covering my lack of knowledge base there. Massive hovercraft platforms here. Man, why don't you just pump out T3? Like, build a T3 economy and just start pumping out T3 hovercraft. I don't know, in my mind I would love to pump out T3 more than I like to pump out T1. Just seems like just seems natural, you know what I mean? Just seems natural. So a good way to train APM. Just started playing scenarios for now. Philip, I'm gonna let you in on something that might sound like bad news at first, but I want you to think about it, and I want you to take it to heart. You probably can't increase your APM by a factor of more than like 50%. And I don't mean just you, I just mean most people in general. Like there's actually not a tremendous amount of actual action per minute that you can generate more than what you already have. Aside from like drinking coffee or waking up or just being in a better mood. Like those are just fluctuations that are gonna happen. But what I can tell you, and this is the part that I want you to listen to, is that you can train to be miles and miles more efficient with your APM to the point that it doesn't matter that you don't have a high APM. Because at the end of the day, if you know exactly what you're doing and you're really familiar with the keybinds, having a high APM doesn't matter because you don't need to spend all those actions doing whatever. And the less actions you have to spend doing any one activity means that you have more APM for everything else. So in that sense, when you're talking about like, can you have a higher APM? It's possible, and you can sort of work on it. You can train like reflexes and stuff like that. But ultimately, what you're going to see a better improvement on is just learning how to better control whatever units you already have in such a way that essentially you can use APM more efficiently. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that's not discouraging. But that's the truth, and I feel like a lot of people don't talk about that. But it is, it's like one of the realities of just playing RTS games. Is like, your APM is kind of a static definition based on your, your physical state. So it's not really like something that I'm comfortable saying, yeah, if you train every day and you lift 100 pounds and you run 100 miles and you do 100 sit-ups, one day you'll be able to micro a army just like me. Not that you would want to. I'm not claiming that I'm the pinnacle of micro. But I'm just saying that you keep realistic expectations when you're kind of looking at that sort of thing, and don't let APM be the limit of your abilities. Certainly it isn't in Beyond All Reason because of just how many creative options there are. I mean, think about all those crazy plays we've seen. Think about that commando play from that video I posted recently. If you haven't seen it, spoiler warning. But maneuvering a commando does not take very much APM, but you can wipe the entire enemy team off the face of the map with really clever unit control. So in many ways, Bar is very forgiving of the low APM, and it makes having a low APM a non-advantage or a non-disadvantage. It's double negative. It makes having high APM a non-advantage. It is nice, but you can still be very competitive with the low APM. Makes sense. Okay, I'm getting some confirmation in the chat. APM is for young people. We olds don't need that. Damn right. There's a lot of people that are well up there playing Beyond All Reason, and it's because they've been playing, again, for years and years and years. I mean, like, literally just talked to somebody the other day that was like 60 years old, was playing Beyond All Reason. I'm like, god damn. I hope when I'm a grandpa, I get to play some of the cool-ass, like, I don't know, virtual reality, like headset games or whatever that my kids are into. I hope that that's like the reality that I get to live in, because that sounds absolutely kick-ass. But yeah, don't worry about APM, mate. Just worry about learning the game, learning the mechanics, and you're going to be in so much a better position. And I would argue you're probably going to have a whole lot more fun than stressing out about like micro and build orders and all that sort of stuff. There literally build orders in this game come down to like the first 3 structures, and then after that it doesn't matter. Excuse me. I'm young and I have low APM. Well, again, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just learn how to use your APM and you're going to be just fine. Remember, it's not about the amount of APM you have, it's about how you use it. Everyone in the chat, I'm sure, can sympathize. Just do what works best for you. Know yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Understanding trumps APM and bar. Yeah, you're gonna, if you're gonna master the mechanics of Beyond All Reason, you're gonna need a lot less APM to get a whole lot more done. Like, I mean, look at this engagement. Like, how much APM would it cost to micro all of these attack hovercraft? Like tons, like hundreds and hundreds. But it doesn't matter. It doesnn't matter. You could micro these with 1 APM. You can micro these epochs with 1 APM, and they're going to do tremendously better against the well microed army down here, right? Like, that's kind of the beauty of bar. Is like, eventually the scale just takes over, and it doesn't really matter. Less emphasis on individual units. That's kind of something to come away from StarCraft as far as mentally thinking. Where in StarCraft, like, roughly speaking, every unit sort of matters. Like, you're so limited by your unit cap that every unit more or less matters. And versus like this game where not every unit matters. Like the early T3 units matter, but even once you get into these late games, even the T3 units don't really matter. Like, it's more so just your overall vision, your overall strategy that works. Can you check your APM in bar? I think there is a way to check your APM in bar. Statistics, maybe? Player. Oh gosh, I think I could have sworn there was a way to look at it. There might be some. There might be some settings. Let's take a look through the settings, actually. In interface game, maybe? Now we're spinning out quick. No. I'm just taking a look here to see if I can spot it right away. Metal spots. No. Okay, I can't spot it. I think there might be a way to see your current APM in the game. Maybe somebody in chat knows. Can see APM after the game, like your average APM or something. I imagine low APM players could serve as great emergency support if the team can communicate the need for rapid response deployment. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, certainly, like if you have low APM, a good place to start would probably be playing with aerial units, playing with fighters and whatnot, because it doesn't take a lot of APM to select all your bombers, hit A, and then right-click and drag these in a nice big line and blow up that entire side of the map. Right? Like that's just. You know, it's just, no matter what you do, like, you can't spend over 100 APM on that. Like, you're just never gonna, you're just not possible. Oh, this sucks, though. Yikes. Bombers were all clumped up. Ooh, okay, and down they all go. Need to spread out your bombers. Easy way to do that is to select a whole bunch of units, hit spacebar, and then right-click, and that's gonna make them all spread out before whatever their move command is. So you plan your attack, and then you just hit spacebar, and right-click and drag, and you're gonna have a nice little line over here. By the way, the lobby I'm in is 8v8 go-go friends. I don't feel so bad, you're level 2. Not sure what Headshot is talking about here. Anyway, back to the game. Let me look through the comments here. Really fun interacting with you guys. I'm really enjoying this streaming stuff. APM is show at the end of the day, usually, I guess. Yeah, it's a weird way of quantifying skill. It really took off in like you know, like South Korea, like talking about StarCraft, and you know, I see it very similarly to the way that like anime works, where in like anime, it's always like power levels, right? Like you see like, you know, the hero has like power level 900, and you're like, holy crap, they're like the strongest guy in the world. But then they introduce a villain that's like 950, and it's like, oh, he's unbeatable. And then the hero learns some new skill, and now their power level goes up to like 100 or something. Which, by the way, as far as storytelling, is like the cheapest way possible I can even imagine to tell like how these characters stack up against each other. It's also so static. Like, anyway, that aside, APM is kind of seen in the same way, at least as far as I can tell, where it's like a very crude and inappropriate way of describing how quote unquote good someone is at a, you know, a video game. And personally, I just don't think it's a very good measure. Like, you could have all the APM in the world, but if you're just like moving ticks around or something, like you're gonna look like a pro, but you're actually not doing anything at all. So it's just weird. StarCraft 2 units mixed make you do. Oh yeah, your unit composition. The unit mix you make determines whether you do well or not, I think is what Raphael is trying to say here. Here it's hard working at same way, but you need less micro and more macro. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, your unit composition makes it's much more important in StarCraft. Although I would argue it's still important here. Certainly, you don't want to go up against like, you know, T2 vehicles with T2 bots. Like, you don't want to go up against them with sprinters. You'd rather use snipers or something like that. But certainly, when you get to these big scales, you kind of just run out of options, right? Like, you basically have to produce Juggernauts and Shivas if you're a Cortex player, or Titans and Razorbacks if you're an Armada player. So it really doesn't matter. It all comes down to the numbers game at the end of the day. Yeah, is there a way to area attack with multiple nukes like you can with bombers? Rarely I'll get to the endgame with 6 nukes and really want to target them in a small area, but not the same spot. Yeah, so it's actually the exact same way that I would say to target your bombers. Say, let's just select some of these and pretend that they're nukes. Again, the keybind combination is you hit the A key, which is your dumbfire mode. It's your attack mode. It just makes anything that you use it on just try to attack wherever the dot falls. And then you right-click and you drag your mouse, and it puts a dot for every unit. And that's where we'll try and attack here. Oh, we have some nukes here we can use. Try and see those, by the way. Oh, that was a great hit. We should hit a T3 production facility right on the front line. Can't believe there wasn't any anti-nuke there. That's unfortunate. But yeah, so what you can see with these nukes, you just hit A, and it shows you the nuke pattern, and then you right-click and drag, and it'll show you all the dots where all the nukes are going to land. And so you just spread them out until roughly the end of the AoE is touching the next dot over. You see what I'm saying? So you can see the dots spread out there. And that's gonna let you fire all the nukes simultaneously, which is important to overcoming anti-nuke, but it's also going to let you kind of spread them out so they're not exactly in the same position. So what I would say to do is, like, you know, for instance, you want to target this base back here, you would, oh, hold on, let me select some units. You would hit A, and then you would, like, spread them out in, like, a circle like this or something, I don't know. Do some sort of shape. But then, yeah, they're all going to fire simultaneously, and they're all going to eventually, they're all going to fire. Might be able to use the vault command. Oh, the wait command. Do the same thing. Right-click and drag in attack order. Yeah, I guess you could do that if you... Actually, I don't know if the wait command would stop a nuke from charging. I don't think it does. That would be really dumb. But yeah, you could certainly, like, make an attack command and then hit wait, and then maybe eventually you just unwait and it would finish it out. I don't know how that interaction would go. Now I'm getting some Yu-Gi-Oh anime flashbacks. APM? APM? Nandesuke? Omae wo no shindeyu. Oh, you're approaching me. I can't kick your ass without getting any closer. Oh, then come as close as you like. His APM level is over 9,000. Yeah. Anyway. How much APM is needed to nuke Goat Scuffle or for blue to hit yellow? Yeah, like one APM, right? Back to the APM discussion. Like, yeah, you don't need APM to launch a nuke or to move your juggernauts into the right position here. Yeah, it's very, like, it's very overarching thinking. That's why it's better to look at these games from this high view here, because it makes more sense to strategically speaking. Why do we have trappers heading in here? That's weird. I don't know why we have mine layers moving in on that queue. That must be an accident. We must be, like, producing those out of a lab somewhere and we didn't mean to. I also don't know. Oh, tumbleweeds. Tumbleweed spotted. Get the camera. Ah, they're not coming out fast enough. We need to produce like 1,000 of them a second. Oh, we have some decoy commanders too. Absolutely lovely. Love to see that. Yeah, there you go. Now your nuke attacks are going to be that much more deadly. I don't know, there's got to be a formula out there that tells you exactly how many nukes you need to overcome, like, one anti-nuke. It sort of depends on the distance away in the map, and it also depends on the well, not the type of nuke, but yeah, just mostly the distance per anti-nuke, but also it depends on how many anti-nukes there are in an area. It's not like a linear scale, though. It's not like if you have 2 anti-nukes, or it's not like if it's 1, it's 4, and then 2, it's 8, and 3, it's 4, 8, 12. There we go. Math in a stream. I did it. It's less than that. It's like if I don't know. Somehow it's less than that, but I don't know the exact numbers for you. All I know is you need a stupid amount of nukes if you want to overcome an anti-nuke, especially on Supreme Straits where you're trying to send them all the way across the map. It's like virtually impossible. Most people are going to scale their anti-nukes to be essentially impenetrable. Mono spam can have glaring weaknesses in bar. Yeah, absolutely. Spamming any type of one unit can have some glaring weaknesses. Don't know why you'd spam trappers, though. So much time wasted trying to target them individually. It never occurred to me to just do the same thing with nukes as I do with bombers. There you go. There you go. Aren't you glad you tuned into the tester stream? Nobody ever comes to the tester stream because I don't think there's going to be any valuable information, but now you know. Now your nukes are going to be 3 times more efficient. 100% better. What up? What? Welcome to the stream, ham sandwich. Kind of hungry. Not gonna lie. Take a bite. Let's talk about how red got back in this game. I thought blue was winning. What caused it in the tilt? What caused in the tilt was that blue did not take advantage of both shorelines that they had open and available to them. So both this northern side was completely taken over by blue, and the southern sea was taken over by blue, and neither of them decided to pressure with any sort of amphibious or hovercraft. They just completely abandoned the sea and tried to brute force through the Supreme Strait. Not so supreme as they thought, and yeah, they threw the game pretty hard. Threw the game pretty badly. You actually need to stockpile 40 to 50 nukes to win. Yeah, that's another point. That's another way to do it, is to just drain the anti-nuke system. You can just fire nukes at it until eventually it runs out of anti-nukes. That's another way to do it. That takes forever, but it is viable. Of course, it takes less time if you build more nukes, so pretty much you kind of run into the solution anyway, which is you just start firing so many nukes anyways that you end up overwhelming the anti-nuke. So it's kind of two ways to reach the same conclusion. Oh, looks like Northlander wants to go hide in the corner. Always a pleasure when they hide the commander and make you play hide and seek for the last 15 minutes of a game. Does look like the GG indeed. Died to tick spam, couldn't Juno enough, and was Cortex, so no Razorbacks. That's interesting. If I had to give you a suggestion as to how I would deal with that problem, first of all, the quad guard is very good, or the twin guard is very good. It can definitely do quite a lot of work, especially against ticks. You build like 4 of those and you basically got an impenetrable wall. Couldn't Juno enough. That's interesting. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to Juno enough. You can always build more. It is hard to get those to fire in the right timing, so you kind of have to like wait for one to fire and then fire the next one, and then you have to like make sure that they're charging on the same cycle as well. So yeah, that is pretty difficult to sync up. So I can't blame you there, but definitely you could solve that issue by building a ton of them. Junos are so expensive though. They really are a proper T2 structure. Like they just cost a tremendous amount here. Diver is still cloaked over here as well as Sovereign. Where are these guys getting the energy for this? I have no idea. Are you gonna run out of power eventually? Diver still has a little bit of power here, but he will run out eventually. Okay. Sumo line, that's a good idea too. Yeah, sumos are very powerful. That's always one really good option. I'm trying to think of anything else. I mean, tigers are decent, but yeah, they'll get overrun by enough ticks as well. You definitely don't want to use Shiva. Shiva will shoot their own toes off if you, will shoot their own toes off if ticks get underneath them, so that's a really dangerous one. Juno won't help if they switch to pawns. That's true, but that also means that they're switching to pawns, which is like way less cost efficient. So, you know, that's kind of a win there. You're basically forcing them to spend like 4 times as much metal on unit production. But it is one of those things where like if you, you know, by the way, if you're caught in this scenario and they're just cloaked in the corner, feel free to just reveal it, because this is not cash money. But yeah, if you, oh wait, what were we talking about there? Sumos wouldn't, I think. Oh wait, hold on. We were talking about tick spam. Oh yeah, we were talking about how units will shoot their own feet off. I don't know why Shiva shoot themselves so viciously compared to like every other unit, but they are just really bad about it. So be careful. Shiva and catapults as well will just absolutely fire directly into your base if there's a tick in there. I've definitely killed some people before by just sending a tick into their base. A catapult comes out of the T3 facility and it shoots directly at their advanced fusion reactor and kills it in one shot. It's like, it's the most ridiculous way to die. Sumos wouldn't fire fast enough for the amount of ticks, and I tried Fiends but never got enough out. Yeah, Fiends seem like the right idea because of the AoE, but actually they fire relatively slowly. Like, because they fire in short little bursts, right? They fire in like little spurts of fire. So they actually can get overwhelmed by the Fiends, which is why it's a lot better to go with Sumos. Kind of a mixture of units is usually pretty good, but Sumos are good because they'll kill the tick in one shot. The Fiends actually aren't guaranteed to do that because they can run through very quickly and actually end up not killing the tick fast enough. Brightwork streaming, what? Yeah, I know, it's crazy, right? We're actually about to wrap up here. I think I'm going to call it after this game. I've gathered all the data that I need, and I really appreciate you folks joining me for it. If you have any last-minute questions, now would be a great time to get them out and try it out. Sumos, I wouldn't think would be firing fast enough. Yeah. Twin guards is probably what I would say as far as static defense, but definitely consider getting some of those sumos out. I think that's probably going to be your best bet. Against low HP spam, always consider laser weapon. Doesn't miss or friendly fire. Yeah, oh yeah, grunt spam. Yeah, how could I forget that? Yeah, just start pumping out grunts. Grunts beat ticks like 99% of the time. they're definitely one of the best ways to deal with that. I can't believe I even forgot about that, but yeah, absolutely. So here you can see mouse. I think it's mouse per minute, or yeah, something like that. This is kills per minute, I believe, and then commands per minute total. All controls per second or something like that. These are essentially the APM measurements, but I can't remember exactly what these stand for. But you guys can take a look at these here and you can kind of see who was doing what. I think this is metal production per minute. KP per minute. So it's like K production? Kills produced or something? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. All right. Well, anyways, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I really appreciate you guys coming out, helping me out, figure out the balance of all this stuff. I'm really, really enjoying this. This was a super fun format. Super excited to get this up and running and do some more of this. Thanks a ton for everybody. And I guess I will see you later. Got to figure out a way to end these a bit more gracefully. Anyway, peace out, folks.